And we should be live now. Let me just check everything in the world. Okay, we are live on YouTube, Twitch, and most importantly, Kick. That's where all of our viewers are. Every single week, we always know. Eight whole followers on there now, all of which are definitely real people. I believe it.
I believe it.
Somebody has to. Okay, where?
It's
yeah, what's up?
crazy coincidental and awesome that the thickest manga that we have to read all coincide with my final season. That's like really cool, and definitely won't have consequences.
No, surely not. Just read.
Bro, I'm trying.
Read now, process never. Okay, you can process it later. Welcome.
Who needs to process things?
Not me. What does Will keep saying? Try not to think about it too much. You'll give yourself a headache, okay? Don't think about it.
Give yourself a headache.
Don't think about it. Shadow, are you here? We can't hear you if you're speaking.
Okay, it changed my thing to my headphones for some reason that I'm not using anymore.
Oh, I don't know.
Nice.
Welcome back.
Wait, did that affect last stream? Oh no.
I don't.
Last stream was fine.
I don't know.
Okay.
We could hear you last stream, so that's a big difference.
No, last me stream, so Tuesday.
Oh, I don't know.
That was Plants vs Zombies, right? You sounded normal there.
Okay.
The big thing is that you can hear him in general.
And Nine, how's the reading going?
Now it's
I
done.
did it.
Oh, okay. Holy shit.
Shadow was ready.
Okay.
Shadow was like, "Oh, I get to bully Andy for not doing the reading yet, not being done with it." But no, you did it.
Call for 30 minutes. What are you talking about?
I finished it at like 2, so I actually had enough time to work on my VOD edit before we started.
Oh my god. I attempted to upload a short today. And, I mean, I don't know.
I saw.
I don't know how it did relative to, like, other shorts or whatever. And I also feel like it will be skewed by the fact that it was the first time I've uploaded a short. So I feel like YouTube, like, pushes that up a bit at first. But it got, like, 300 views in like 10 minutes at first, and then like after a couple hours it seems like it maxed out at a little under 1K. It was just like a clip of the Anime Boston cosplay interview thing. One of the questions I asked them, the naming iconic anime moments. So it's interesting to try out. I'll probably try out a few more and see how those go.
Did you see what my reply was?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably upload the same thing to TikTok as well at some point and see how it does on there too.
That's fair.
I don't know how. I don't know how. I don't know how hashtags, if at all, are supposed to work for those. Like if you should even bother with them.
I honestly couldn't say. Usually when I'm posting on TikTok, I'm posting in alignment with something that is currently like trending, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
So I use the tags that I know would be associated with it. But also like my perspective is skewed because at the time I'm capitalizing on what's popular. So like all of my most viewed TikToks I posted during that like really weird resurgence in the South Park fandom a while ago.
Right.
Specifically using like TweakX Craig stuff and like angst tags, so I knew that those were gonna do well. So I can't necessarily say that the tags were what was benefiting it, or it was just like it's what was popular at the time, so I was capitalizing off of that.
Right.
So later on, now I don't want to pull up my TikTok because you'll be able to hear it through the microphone. But now I usually just do like Twitch clips, and I tag it with like it's Twitch and it's a Twitch clip. because those seem to have a lot of TikToks like underneath that tag. And then I'll tag like whatever the specific game is.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I'd have to upload an experiment to see if it even matters. But I'm my assumption with most of these platforms like YouTube and TikTok when it comes to like the shorts is just you can add in hashtags, but largely their bullshit is going to scan your content, pick out words, and categorize it anyways. So it like largely it's still going to be served to the same people it should be served to. But if you add the hashtags in, it might help people who are searching under that hashtag, I guess.
On TikTok, it won't really matter. The search function on TikTok is kind of ass.
I see.
But I think that on TikTok you still can follow certain tags. I don't know though. Unlike YouTube, I feel like TikTok is way more algorithm heavy than YouTube is. Like YouTube obviously has an algorithm to figure out what it's going to recommend to you. But like with TikTok, you'll get the weirdest shit. And it's always like a hit or miss on whether it's actually going to be like catered to your content or whatever. I don't fucking know.
That makes it sound like it's not algorithm heavy. It's just throwing random shit at you.
Oh, it's a little bit of both. So I will get a lot of TikToks that are either relevant to my interest or relevant to what's going on at the time, like in the world. Like it's because I'm on it relatively actively. So I'll get TikToks that are really big and into my interest, and then suddenly, like every 6 or 7 TikToks, I'll get one that has like 30 likes or like even 6 likes, and it's completely untagged. And like I don't even know why it recommended it to me. Like maybe it's because of like a mutual, or like they're posting, the person that posted it is somebody who consumes the same content that I do, or like sometimes it's a video of a cat where it's like, oh, okay, obviously TikTok knew to send that to me because I love cats.
Right.
But like my For You page is not even usually people that I'm following. I actually noticed a lot of times that if you start following someone, it shows you their content less on your For You page. You'll have to go specifically to your following page to be able to see the content of the people that you follow. So if I like an account, I usually don't follow it so that I can continue to get the stuff.
what I've been used to when it comes to like following, and then it seems like you see it less, it has to do with like how much you're engaging with some of the content on these platforms after you follow. Because sometimes you follow the things and then like they don't actually check out the things even though they followed it afterwards. And so I don't know, it feels like, because I have that habit with like YouTube too. I'm subscribed to a whole bunch of like different channels, but I'll only see certain channels I'm subscribed to show up on my homepage if I've been watching that type of content recently. Otherwise, they're just going to assume I subscribe to them, but I'm not actively watching their shit at this time. So even though I'm subscribed to them, it's not going to show it. And I think Twitter does similar stuff at times, because I'm pretty sure with the amount of people I follow, I should be seeing a lot more tweets on there from people than I normally do see. But I think it's like filtering out some of them to only show me like ones that I've actually attempted to even engage with in a while.
Social media is weird.
Yeah. Okay, post this.
Post that.
Okay. All right, we posted everywhere. Everybody in the world, including your mom on her Apple smartwatch. Okay, she's coming to watch the stream right now.
Mom, go away.
Damn. That's rude.
I don't think my mom would approve me of swearing so much.
What the fuck? It's fucked up.
If it was in Spanish, she wouldn't mind, but if it's in English, she doesn't like it.
Oh, okay. So we got to get some Spanish lessons in. I see.
You know, I'm a pretty big fan of comedia.
Yeah. Minmod in the YouTube chat. Oh god, the voices have returned. Yes, they have. Yes, they have.
What do you mean the voices?
You know, the voices.
Yeah, if you're not explaining things, I'm a dumb idiot.
You know. Oh, you know.
I don't know.
You know.
No, you're not helping.
You know. You don't know, but you know. The real question is, where the hell's Ari? Ari was at a Halloween party. I don't know if they're back yet.
Halloween party.
I killed Ari. Sorry.
Rip.
Oh no. Guess we'll never find out who killed Beatrice.
It's okay. Ari's just doing
Well, I think
another
she's always
3.5
Beatrice,
hours
right?
of petting Leroy, so it's fine.
True. Integral.
For those of you listening to the stream right now, Ari posted in the Anime Book Club chat her like schedule today, and it was like, wake up, breakfast, Uber to airport, fly home, get home, pet Leroy. Petting Leroy was like scheduled for 3.5 hours, and then it's like go to neighbor's Halloween party, leave party, book club. So my assumption is they're in the leaving party stage, and
Also,
will
the book
arrive to
club
the
was
book club
this
stage, in 1 minute. You know, definitely. Says on their schedule, 1 minute they'll be here.
My brother is attending college out of town. He's in state, so he drives back and forth like from the house up to where he's going to school when he wants to. He was home for, I shit you not, less than 24 hours before he drove back up. Because he slept until like 2:30 and mom called him like 6 times, and he decided that he didn't want to deal with her face to face, which I want to make it very clear. My mom has been home for less than the amount of time that he's been here. He got home around like 6:30 last night, and she was at a school event. So she got home at 7:30, right? And they probably like engaged like a little bit.
Yeah.
And then they both went to bed. And then
Me
she
too.
left to go hang out with her parents today while he stayed home and slept until the afternoon.
Yeah.
So then when he woke up around like 2:30 or 3 or whenever the fuck he woke up, apparently by that time she had called him 6 times expecting an answer and hadn't got any because he was asleep. So then he starts packing up to leave, and I'm like, hey, like, I thought you were staying the weekend because it's only Saturday, right? And he's like, yeah, mom called me and I decided that I don't want to have a face-to-face conversation with her. So I'm going. Bye.
Damn.
So he was like out the door by 4, and I still haven't seen my mom come back home yet.
Oh.
What the hell are we talking about?
I don't even know
We're
anymore.
trying to stall so you show up, Ari, okay? We're doing our best here.
Oh, is this pre-stream?
Yeah. No, this is a part of
You're
episode
airing
7.
You're airing this in pre-stream?
Yeah, why not? Why did we leak anything huge or?
Neither my brother nor my mom are here to tell me to stop. So
Is it something you think you should stop doing?
No.
Do you feel like they would tell you to stop if they were there?
I don't think things like that should be. Well, nobody told me to. I think at some point you need that's something that needs to come from within, come from the heart. You might say.
I feel like this is all an Umineko reference, honestly.
True.
I was playing I was playing Luigi's Mansion the whole time. I was like, yo, mansion, like floating golden spirit thing at the beginning. Like, whoa, is this Umineko?
Kinzo was there.
What is this?
Beatrice was there too.
Kinzo was in
remember?
there. Yep. There's the whole thing. Everywhere I look, it's an Umineko
We're
reference.
still laying down bed. This might be a ghost.
Oh, I meant to
Maybe
also.
you
did-
have bills for me.
I meant to also tell you guys the Call of Cthulhu campaign began. Well, it technically began last week, but it was like session 0 to set them all up. But this week they've actually started with the story here with all that stuff. So let me ramble about this for a tiny bit before we officially start the discussion for this week. So the main thing is I had to adjust it a lot to be a Call of Cthulhu campaign, even though it's based on Umineko, right? So I've explained this off stream to a couple of you before, but the idea is in my version of that campaign, Beatrice is actually a psychic alien being, and her and all the gold came crashing down onto Rokujima from like a meteoroid or asteroid, whatever the fuck you would call. Came crashing down from space, okay? And Kinzo found all the gold. Did not realize it also came with a psychic being who has been like poisoning his mind over years and has become obsessed with mystery novels and stuff. And so the family is stuck in a time loop caused by this psychic being, just eternally torturing them and fucking with Battler as like a, the little game thing or
Mostly
whatever.
Battler.
So all the investigators in Call of Cthulhu, that's the players, they started in 1994. I think I adjusted the year so that they were in 1994 instead of 98. Andre has hired them to go to the island to figure out what happened to her family. They go there, a weird storm happens, and they go back in time, and they arrive on the shore in 1986 on the day of this. So they're meeting all the family members, and they're trying to piece together some of the events. And they have interesting ideas of what's going on right now. The main thing is they're assuming that all the Ushiromiyas have some like sort of tie, family tie in the past, specifically Kinzo, towards the Nazis. They believe their wealth comes from Nazi gold. They're like
I mean,
they're like half of these people are like they're supposed to be Japanese, but they all have very like English or German or European sounding names, and they don't look Japanese, and they're like what is going on with this? And somehow there's like gold, and he bought this in World War II. What? It's a little weird. So they're assuming that potentially that the Ushiromiya family has like old family Nazi ties, and that's where they got their wealth from.
Which isn't that far off.
Which doesn't help that I go to say Nazi because now they think I'm saying Nazi. And I try to explain, no, this is a Japanese name. This is how you pronounce her name, okay?
they're like checkmate.
I'm just like, every time I say it, like a couple, they were like, Nazi? Like, what? And I'm like, do I have to change your name? Because
Yeah, change it to Natsuki instead.
you know? So that's one thing. My Uncle Mike got like hammered halfway through the night on the unruly Trulies that he drinks or whatever. So he started like clocking out halfway through, and like when I got to the point where they're having the lunch and they're meeting all the family members, and I had printed out a thing with like each of the avatars of all the characters of the family and the servants with the names and ages and their notable relations to the family and all that. And I was showing it off to them, explaining each person. Everybody else was like just asking questions, understanding it, and you know, going over time. My Uncle Mike was just like stuck on page 1. I'm like, this is Ava. She is the mother of
the
George.
easiest one to
I'm like,
remember.
no. So I'm explaining this is Ava, and then I flip over the page, and you know, going through a couple, and then this one's Jessica, and he's like pointing to Jessica and going, so is that Ava? And I'm like, no, this is Jessica. Ava's over here. He's like trying to write down the names on like his paper. I'm like, you don't have to write down anything. I'm gonna be giving you guys these papers. You can go through them. He keeps trying to write down. It's like, okay, but who's Jessica? Who's Ava? And I'm like, it's right here. It's on the paper. It was very funny. I'm pretty sure he passed out like halfway through in the middle of some of it, and then woke up later. But everybody else was just doing their own thing anyway. So, but it was very interesting with where they got so far. They obviously, so I had them like see the opening dream sequence, like as a dream sequence, where they see Kinzo in his study talking with Nanjo, finding out that he doesn't really have long to live, and then he's screaming at the portrait of Beatrice, and one of them was like, okay, so we find out we're on the island. They pretty quickly figure out they've gone back in time, and they're just like, okay, I'm paying attention everywhere. I want to know, you know, if I ever see the Beatrice portrait. Okay, I want to know, because I didn't have them see what it actually looked like at first. I'm like, okay, so I'm checking everywhere, and like they're on their way into the entrance of the mansion. He's like trying to explain to me, like, I'm really staying behind. Okay, I just want to do any rolls potentially to see if I notice the portrait anywhere. I want to see if I can sneak away from the group to go into Kinzo's study. I'm like, okay. Right, all right, and I'm just like, okay, he's done with all his rambling. I'm like, okay, all right, so you guys enter in, and immediately to your right is the giant portrait that takes up the size of the wall. And he's like, God fucking damn it.
Very subtle, okay? You wouldn't notice it at that check.
True.
Yeah, but they did get to the. I had a whole thing too. So I printed out a picture of Beatrice, and I printed out a whole written English version of the epitaph for them all to look through and read and all that. The one thing I did prepare, because I thought they were going to get further in the first session than I expected. I had thought that they were going to get towards the dinner where Maria was going to read the letter. So I had an actual physical like envelope prepared with the Ushiromiya one-winged eagle symbol on it and like a little stamp and everything, and then the letter from Beatrice inside the envelope, which I found from like, I guess somebody uploaded like a template of it to DeviantArt, so I printed that out, cut it out, and like folded it all together. I was like, this is a pretty cool little prop. And we didn't even get to it. They barely finished the lunch talk with them, and then I thought that they were going to try to listen into the family conference, so I like planned things out in case they did, and then they didn't. So, but
average DM activity.
That's how it goes. But that's fine. They could always try it out in the, you know, when they die, and then go into the next loop for all I know. But anyways. That's that. I'll let you guys know any more funny updates with that adventure, with how things go, or if I remember anything along the way. But anyways, we're not here to discuss. Yeah, what's up?
What's up? I forgot to mention during Luigi's Mansion stream, if you stay idle in the options menu, EGAT just starts fucking with your settings.
I believe it. I believe it. Actually, I believe it. That was a funny game.
Yeah,
And-
also this.
And the whole time I just kept thinking Umineko references. I was like, oh, mansion. Anyways.
I got to the part while I was editing my VOD, just before I joined call. I got to the part where you had asked me what my blade wielder 3x3 would be, and I started going off about the fact that I would have sex with Renove and Beatrice, and specifically Kaiman,
fuck?
but only with his lizard.
I was like, what's your 3x3 like swordsman? And immediately like eventually got to, yeah, but who would I fuck though? I don't know.
Felt very curious.
Hold on, I need to mention this, by the way.
Okay.
Earlier today, I was talking with Nyan, and they're saying that like the praying mantis is kind of hot.
It is.
All right, let's not get into that right now. Let's get into book club. Are we ready to begin? I'm ready to begin. All right. Welcome everybody to another exciting week of the Anime Book Club here on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick all at the same time. You can find all the links to all these things at wolfborg.com. That's Wolfborg with one G. One whole G. Oh my god. And this week, we are starting episode 7 of the Umineko manga, Umineko When They Cry, episode 7, Requiem of the Golden Witch. The answer check, as has been explained to us before. But before we get into that, let's introduce the cast that's here today. Starting alphabetical order, me, Battlerborg, aka Chaplain, aka Wolfborg. Call me whatever the fuck you want, just don't call me a furry, okay? Just don't call me a furry, that's it. And I am excited to talk about this stuff and delay my speech until I think about something I can recommend to you all. I don't know. I'm playing Danganronpa, so check out those streams. Danganronpa's fun. Just don't get into the fandom, and it's fun. So there you go. There's my recommendation. Don't worry about that, Shadow. Don't worry about that. Next up is Shadowpawn. Introduce yourself.
I am Shadow. The thing I recommend doing is reading your shit in advance.
Can you believe that?
I got
Who would
it
do
done
that?
in time. What do you want from me?
This is bullying that's like unnecessary too. It's kind of fucked up and evil.
I was just sending that as a precautionary, I don't know how long this is. I don't know how hard it's gonna be. Forgive me, if we need to stall a little bit in case I don't get it done. But I did get it done.
You did it. You did it.
You okay there? I didn't think it would hurt you that badly. Jesus.
We're fine. We're fine. This is all memes. Okay, listen. Okay. Oh, for those of you watching the VOD or whatever, yes, we are streaming on Saturday for this week only. We'll be back to the regular Thursday next week. So don't expect that this is going to be a regular thing for Saturdays. It just might be an occasional thing in case there's scheduling issues. But we will be back next Thursday at the usual time. So, Shadow, anything else? Yeah, we'll deal with Halloween. We'll deal with Halloween next week.
I don't fucking know that. That's it. Sorry.
Okay. Next up, we have the Bacon Witch. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm the Bacon Witch. I'm Nyan Bacon. You may hear me referred to as Nyan, Bacon, or Andy. All are fine. And you should follow my Blue Sky, Nyan Bacon, since Twitter is going to hell. I continue to update my trying to draw for every day of 2024 on Blue Sky. I will continue to post on Twitter, but since everybody is migrating, I thought I would boost that. And also Chap is on Blue Sky. And so is Ari and Studio Alon. So you should go follow them too.
True. Mine you can just find by going to bsky.wolfborg.com. If you just type bsky, you just type in the Wolfborg.com. You do that for most social media things, and you'll find my shit, I think. But anyways, anything else? Do you have a stream snack?
I do not have a stream snack. I am hungry.
God.
I'm hoping my mom might bring me leftovers from my grandparents' house because my grandmother cooks really well.
Oh my god. All right.
But I did have apples and peanut butter before this.
Ooh, nice.
Together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have a problem with that?
I feel the judgment.
Just wondering.
Next up we have Aribia. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Arimia.
Okay. Is there supposed to be more here, or what's going on?
That's all I feel like tonight.
Oh,
I
okay.
showed stuff and I've subjected them to Umineko, and we're almost done now.
Okay.
We're almost done.
I was
Not quite.
I was expecting like a quirky sound effect to happen in the middle of that was like brand new or something when in the pause, and then nothing happens. So I was like, oh, okay, what's happening?
What's
So,
happening
anyways,
There's a
welcome.
surprising amount of hostility in the air today, which is
I'm
wonderful.
trying to grab my screenshots from episode 7.
Ah, okay.
I
okay.
have
What do you have?
two things I'd like to say.
What's that?
It is regarding the reading. Number one, I liked Kinza saying "Death is the great equalizer" at some point. I thought that was cute. That was a cute, quirky callback.
Yeah, you would like that.
Everybody, put the weapons down. Everybody.
All right, guys, I'm pointing on Margo. We can't bully Andy anymore.
It's the spook. It's the spooky season, not the violent season.
The other one that I wanted to say.
Tears in Andy's eyes.
We broke Andy.
Tears in my eyes.
All right, what's your second thing? What's your second
The
thing?
other one that I wanted to say was that I swear that I did the reading, but when you guys keep reading when you say the heart is the way, I don't remember what that's referring to.
So Will's entire thing is that the heart, if you can't find a reasoning behind a murder, a motive, the reason the heart might do something, then you have nothing. The heart needs to come first. The motive needs to come first.
I just remember from the opening colored pages scene where he seems like he's like solving some other case, or I don't know if it's that already. It seemed like he was like training up some other SSVD like Inquisitor people, and his like final instruction was like, if you fancy yourself a detective, don't forget the heart. Never forget it. And that scene sticks out to me specifically because I was like, okay, so this is this dude's introduction, but also I did not like his face as he was supposed to be shouting it. So I was like, he looks like he's got a dumb fucking face while he's shouting this impactful speech.
I would like to do the preamble of what setting up this episode, but also I do not like this artist. I'm sorry. We'll get to that later.
Listen,
Don't worry.
Listen, I agree in some respects. So, well, first of all, let's just for the background of this. So, episode 7, Requiem of the Golden Witch. We have the answer check that we were promised. Now we're going to be starting to get some clarifications and answers about things, which is not coming from Battler. Battler's not involved in this at all, right? He's just
nope.
So Battler's not involved in not yet, at least, not yet.
So episode 7, the manga does not start with this, but episode 7 starts with Beatrice's funeral, attended by Virgilia and Lord Battler, which Battler, whatever you want to call him.
Yep.
That wasn't the start of this one.
No, they rearranged it for the manga, but in the beginning of the end is what Ari's saying.
Yeah, the very beginning of episode 7. So they're alone in the meta world at the funeral, and Virgilia's giving like a eulogy or something, and Battler has a book with him, and he places it in the coffin with the Bito's coffin, and we are told that book is a game that Battler has written for Bito that...
Was it last episode?
No.
I would not want to give somebody last episode as their gift. If I made that, I would be like, oh shit, I don't want anybody to see it. I mean, the episode was good, but I mean, Battler's attempt at a game was terrible. But
what are you talking about?
So so the book he gives to he puts in the coffin is his. It is his game to Bito that is his idea of the best possible game for her.
I see.
It is his gift to her, and the two of them, leave the chapel to not let her, leave her in peace, let her rest in peace. And then we get to see a new character, Williard H. Wright.
Which again, last week, real quick, again, last week we talked about how we looked at the cover as 2 new fucking characters. They are the entirety of this episode is these new fucking characters. The entirety of it is driven by them. Like, what is this? Okay, go on.
So, Will is introduced to us. He is a head inquisitor, just like Dlanor, but he serves over the SSVD. So that is the 7th. What? Let me check real quick. That is the 8th district of jurisdiction of the Great Court of Heaven, SSVD. While as
Good one. Good one.
Dlanor's. The thing that's Iron Maiden in German that I'm not going to try to pronounce right now.
Sure.
That is Dlanor's. And that is the 7th district, Repentance Enforcement Agency of the Great Court of Heaven. But anyway, he is a High Inquisitor just like Dlanor. He is of the same ranking as her. But he is actually not an Inquisitor anymore. He retires at the very beginning of this. And the scene that we open with on episode 7 is him giving his last kind of hoorah to his underlings. Basically saying, if you want to inherit my last name, right, which is a name that they passed down in the SSVD for some reason, then you have to focus on the heart. So he is no longer the wizard hunting right. He is just
now he's a cardiologist. Oh, okay. No, yeah, go on.
Yeah. So he So Dlanor uses the 10 stakes, the 10 Ronald Knox rules. Will, on the other hand, uses the 20 rules created by Van Dyne.
Which is what SSVD stands for,
Van
right?
Dyne.
Yeah.
And SS Van Dyne was the pseudonym for an American writer named Willard Huntington Wright.
Oh my god, it's all connected. Holy shit.
American.
So does that mean he's supposed to share the same birthday as the original author too?
And he does.
I looked him up and he's like 1888. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ.
His Will's birthday is October 15th, same as the author.
Okay.
Him and I think all of the angels, they're angels. They serve the Great Court of Heaven. All the Inquisitors are angels.
Naturally.
They're not human. I believe all of them don't have birth dates, like years. I mean, ages. I don't think any of them have ages. So he's just ambiguously an adult. Yeah. So that's where we get to that, and he gets a letter from Byrne. Can't say no to a letter from a witch of the Senate. So even though he's retired, he's like, well, I guess I'll show up.
I just retired. I had to go back into work. Goddamn.
So okay,
one more.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, go on.
Yep. No. If you got one more thing, do your one more thing.
And that brings us to the chapel where Byrne has created a new game as an answer check for Featherine, who is kind of her guardian. But specifically, one thing that you need to remember is that this is not a fragment in the sense of like this is a possibility that could have happened. This is a game that Byrne made specifically by combining multiple fragments. So, naturally, this fragment that Will is in could not exist on its own. It is the combination of multiple different fragments, including Lion, whose name is actually like Leon.
Leon, yeah.
It's like French Leon.
But like they write it like lion, but it's supposed to be pronounced like Leon. And I'm just thinking the whole time, like, why didn't we just write it as Leon? Is there
hold on?
I don't know. Even Manga Gamer goes with Lion. I'm pretty sure Lion is the right one, as in Leon.
when I was planning for the Cthulhu campaign stuff, I had, was writing down certain things that were located in certain locations, and one of the ones that I noticed was like in front of the chapel was supposed to be like 2 lion statues. So I was like, is this supposed to be related to that at all? But it was like, no, it's pronounced Leon. So I'm like, oh, okay, but we're writing it lion. Okay, all right. Oh yeah, Minmon makes a good point. I immediately thought of Sakutaro with lion. Was that lion or was that supposed to be a tiger? I don't even.
Oh
no, it's a lion.
That's
That's a lion.
the whole time. He was the interest.
He's a veggie lion, like a vegetarian lion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, so. Listen.
Yeah, Shadow. Yeah.
All right. So, okay, a couple of things that I want to talk about with the opening scene, because the opening scene introducing us to Will is, I was like, okay, I like the colored opening scene pages a lot of the time. This one was also cool because it's introducing the new character who is like similar in one way to Erica in that he's the detective role, but very different in the way he approaches it. As he explains in the opening scene, which I liked that he mentioned, he says, if we disregard the heart, that makes us little more than intellectual rapists, which, as we've known in previous volumes, is how Erica refers to herself. And Erica, obviously prides herself on disregarding the heart. And so it's so much to the point that she would just rather re-kill the bodies to make sure that they're dead so that she can solve the case. So, so we already had that kind of thing. I liked that. I was already gonna be like, oh, okay, he's declaring things in red right now. We're declaring new rules, and he says there's 20 of them, 20 fucking new rules that we gotta go through here. Which, okay, so I have the list of those rules here, what they're supposed to be. Okay, which might have been altered here. So, 1, the reader must have equal opportunity with the detective for solving the mystery. 2, no willful tricks or deceptions may be played on the reader. 3, there must be no love interest in the story. So several of these rules I'm already just like, what's going on here? Because I'm already, no willful tricks or deceptions on the reader. Bro, this story's been most of that.
That's the entire story, yeah.
3, no love interest. No love interest. Bro, we've had like 3 different love interest stories happen, at least. Like,
this entire story is about the love interest.
What else do we have here? 4, the detective himself or one of the official investigators should never turn out to be the culprit. Well, Erica just tried to make herself the culprit, but although we took away her detective role, so I guess. So, all right. The culprit must be determined by logical deductions, not by accident or coincidence or unmotivated confession. 6, the detective novel must have a detective in it, and a detective is not a detective unless he detects. Very simple to the point. Pretty sure we didn't have a detective for the last 2 episodes, though, but don't worry about that. 7, there simply must be a corpse in a detective novel, and the deader the corpse, the better. That's what they wrote. I didn't paraphrase that. That's what they wrote. 8, the problem of the crime must be solved by strictly naturalistic means, such as methods for learning the truth, as slate writing, Ouija boards, mind reading are taboo. A reader has a chance when matching his wits with a rationalistic detective, but if he must compete with the world of spirits from the 4th dimension metaphysics, he is defeated ab initio, whatever that means. Basically, don't do any weird spiritual fourth wall bullshit metaphysics stuff. And I'm just like, the key point of this is that there's a lot of meta narrative stuff going on. So I don't know how that works into this. There must be but one detective. That is, but one protagonist of deduction, one deus ex machina. The culprit must turn out to be a person who has played a more or less prominent part in the story. Servants such as butlers, footmen, valet, gamekeepers, cooks, and the like must not be chosen by the author as the culprits, which I think that's supposed to be just like, oh, that would be a little cliche, so let's not do that. It's been done before, but I mean, it sounds like we're...
Yeah, Van Dyne's rules are more based on a criticism of murder mysteries from his time, as all of these kinds of sets of rules are. They're based on criticisms of prior works.
Sure, but this rule specifically is one that is declared in red at the beginning of this volume. Rule 20.
That's a different case. That's a different case. Don't worry about it.
He's like, Van Dyne's 20 rules. Rule 11, a servant shall not be the culprit. He says that in red at the beginning of that, and I was like, wait, what?
He just slashes it down with that. And it's like, but wait, what? So why did her boyfriend have to give, like, his alibi then? Like,
yeah, I don't know what was going on in that case.
Just showed up, Will?
Yeah, she was like, there was like blue text going on in this opening scene. This woman's like, "Are you protecting me?" Like, he's like, "Oh, don't worry. Well, I'll take care of this for you." Yeah, so the servant can't be the culprit. I said so. Anyways, moving on. All right, so what else we got here? There must be one culprit no matter how many murders are committed. Secret societies, mafias, etc. have no place in a detective story. The method of murder and the means of detecting it must be rational and scientific. The truth of the problem must at all times be apparent, provided the reader is shrewd enough to see it. A detective novel should contain no longer descriptive passages, no literally dallying and side issues, no subtly worked out character analysis, nor atmospheric preoccupations. That's a lot of fancy. There's a lot of fancy stuff.
Terminology for basically saying no dilly-dallying in your narration.
There's a lot of dilly-dallying in
Throw
some
down
of these
a lot of
episodes,
opinions, okay?
Listen, what else we got here? A professional criminal must never be shouldered with the guilt of a crime in a detective story. Crimes by housebreakers and bandits are the province of the police department, not of authors and brilliant amateur detectives, I guess. That's... a crime in a detective story must never turn out to be an accident or a suicide. The motives for all crimes in detective stories should be personal. And the last one, to give my credo to... What? I don't even know what he's trying to say. Okay. I herewith list a few of the devices which no respecting detective story writer will now avail himself of. 1. Determining the identity of the culprit by comparing the butt of a cigarette left at the scene of the crime with the brand smoked by a suspect. 2. The bogus spiritualistic seance to frighten the culprit into giving himself away.
I want to know what books he read
He got
in the 1900s that got him so tilted.
These are very specific books that he's probably referencing.
It's wonderful.
3. Forged fingerprints. 4. The dummy figure alibi. I don't even know what that means. 5. The dog.
I guess that's using like
a dummy to make it look like you were somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. 5. The dog that does not bark and thereby reveals the fact that the intruder is familiar. Would Leroy be able to help us identify the culprit?
That's funny because like a lot of these are still staples of mysteries.
Yeah.
And this man was born in 1888.
You're finding out all the people who write those, they're shit at their job. They don't know how to write for shit.
He was ahead of the curve.
It's the whole, like, every single art or thought movement has an unnecessary counter movement. Modernism didn't need a postmodernism counterpart, right?
This is why you hate Will.
What else do we got here? The final pinning of the crime on a the final pinning of the crime on a twin. The final pinning of the crime on a twin or a relative who looks exactly like the suspected but innocent person.
But I like that stuff. What?
The hypodermic syringe and the knockout drops. Can't use those. Don't use those. Cringe. The commission of the murder in a locked room after the police have actually broken in. 9. The word association test for guilt. And lastly, the cipher or code letter, which is eventually unraveled by the sleuths. Would the epitaph count for that? I don't know. Anyways, those were Van Dyne's proposed rules. Agree with them or not? This is what our boy Will is running off of. Literally the embodiment of.
Reference.
He is running off of spite.
You know,
pretty much. That's how he behaves, to be honest.
And
spite is a wonderful tool.
And like I had mentioned, the artist. I will first introduce the artist before we make comments about the artist. The artist is Eita Mizuno. She is currently Mizuno is doing the manga adaptation of Other Side Picnic. That's the sci-fi horror Yuri series. So they're
Yeah.
doing the manga adaptation of that. I've not checked on the manga, but I know it's supposed to be based off a series of novels, which I was going to check out eventually.
Yeah.
They had also did some other series that was like their own after this series, but before that one, Tengai-san wa Angai Futsu. Something about like monsters and a murder case and something like that. So another kind of detective story, probably. It's listed as like comedy supernatural though, so I don't know what that's like, but supposedly that had like 4 volumes. So they've been doing some stuff, not a lot of works. They did like some other adaptations of like existing game properties it looked like before, like manga adaptations of those, and then now they're doing Other Side Picnic. So I will say I'm fine with their style sometimes. Specifically, I am not fine with their style when it comes to Will in a lot of these shots. I don't know what it is. I think I don't know if it's just like, because especially with that color page where he's like shouting like "Never forget this if you carry on the name of right." That was not a good face. Do we have a copy of that face so I could show it on stream? Because it was we were like trying to show this like big like tough looking dude shouting a very powerful impactful thing, and he looks like he's like half crying, like he's
He's doing his best, okay?
He's too yaoi-fied at this. He's just like I don't like it's a thing I see more often in shonen where the artist draws different genders as very different from each other and not in a similar style, because like a skilled artist can draw people of a variety of ages, sizes, body types, and they still look the same style. But this artist cannot do that. Will, pretty much just Will. He
yeah,
looks
it's pretty
like
much
he's
just
from
what
a yaoi manga. And then, like,
everybody else I was fine with, but it was pretty much
I
just
like
Will.
how they draw Dr. Nanjo.
he looks fine.
He looked very soft and squishy, and I liked that.
But then, like, Leon, Lion, Cannon, also some of the girls, they all just look. I hate the dot nose. I hate it. I'm sorry, I hate it.
Oh yeah, it was only like some of the characters had the dot nose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have a collection. I love Leon is like moe adorable, but also it just does not fit here. I'm sorry.
Now, last week we had joked when we saw these 2 characters, who, by the way, if you're looking on the stream, you're like, bro is huge compared to Lion.
He's
and yes,
nuts.
it was annoying for me to try to get a thumbnail that worked. Even this way, I don't really know if I like it because our faces are blocking Will's head. He was massive on the cover compared to Lion, but okay. I was also confused of what was going on with like Lion's gender at first, because I had thought, because we had made the jokes about like Will looks like Kirito, Lion looks like Saber, and then I had thought early on at some point, either Will or somebody else had made a reference to calling Lion a man, and I wasn't sure if that was the case or if I was just misunderstanding that and they were referring to somebody else at the time. But later on, we get the confirmation that Lion's gender is supposed to be ambiguous, or it's not confirmed to us right now, at least.
See, that's weird because I thought I remembered them referencing to them as the eldest daughter. So
no, I did remember. I was trying to keep track when, like, they were interacting with like Jessica. So I was like, okay, so is this like a older brother or older sister? Because like she's like, I'm sorry, Jessica's like getting into fights with Lion, and Lion's like pinching her ass or leg or something. I forget. She's like pinching something. Was pinching Will. Lion was pinching Will.
It's their
and
they do that a lot.
So I was just like, well, what is going on here with that? But then eventually they do have a discussion about that, and they're just like, yes, I don't feel like talking about it right now or something like that. They're like, I'm not going to confirm there. So basically, we don't get to know right now. And the reason why was later on we find out they're tied in with part of this. So, but that's the whole thing.
Yeah, I'll explain more of that a bit later.
Right. One question I had, because I didn't know if I was misunderstanding this. So the beginning of the omnibus has, a couple of the colored pages that are like supposed to be like covers or art or whatever. One of them is a woman with green hair reading a book. Was she in this?
Yes, she was at the very end. I think chapter 19 and 20.
Oh,
she was the one reading the book.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Claire.
On the play, on the like stage play thing that they're doing.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting confused because when they're doing the stage play stuff, I thought that was just like Zipar for like just in costumes doing the thing,
Fucking around as you do.
And like that this was like an Inquisitor person in a costume too. I didn't know what was going on with
more
this.
characters. Goddamn.
Yes, that was the important thing too. I was like, there's supposed to be a green-haired character here, and I don't know what's going on. But they're reading from the book, and yeah. So, anyways, but we gotta rewind a lot before we get to that part of it. So we had Will's introduction, and then we jump to Beatrice's funeral, and Battler shows up, drops off the book as you explained. We get into the game world of the funeral here, which Will was invited to by Berncastle because Berncastle needs somebody to entertain her doing her own game, because she's doing it under the guidance of Featherine. Are they playing against each other?
No.
Okay, so they're just they're sharing answers essentially.
So basically, Byrne has all the pieces in front of her, and she is just giving. This game she is conducting is just for Feathering to watch over, and so they can see the answers together. Because Byrne at this point, I would say she does not know the truth. Because otherwise, she might not, but basically, like, before this, that was part of the way that she had, like, Erica and stuff, because Lambda Delta made episode 5 because she knew the truth, and so this is kind of her way of making a game where she can give the answers to Featherine, because Featherine has her own version of the truth, but she wants an answers check to see what the game itself sees as the truth. Right. Either way, this is just her doing this for Featherine.
Every time we get into long spiels trying to figure out some of this stuff, and now all I'm thinking in my head is, don't think too much about it. You'll get a headache. Because that just kept coming up. That they just kept saying that throughout this episode. Yeah, don't think about it too much. You'll get a headache.
She probably knows the truth because the way she's arranged the pieces, but this is just for Featherine's sake.
Right. And also for our sake, because we're getting clarification about some things. I care about our sake, god damn it. First of all, I'm like, okay, how the fuck were we supposed to piece together all of the World War II backstory bullshit that happened? We were supposed to figure that out? We were supposed to figure that out?
A lot of this part is harder to piece together, but there are a lot more hints of it in the visual novel than here.
Yeah.
Because it's 150 fucking hours.
Like, I believe they probably mentioned at some point in the manga something about the World War II connection, like maybe he served, or maybe like that he bought it after World War II. But there was a lot of backstory about his time in the war that was very integral to everything.
In the VN, it's more set up of, they definitely mention him being shipped off to war and, like, the general timeline of events of him, like, getting sent, becoming the successor before World War II, and then getting sent off to war and stuff, and then coming out of the war with these riches, even though the world was not at all, how on earth did he do this?
Yep. So we have the funeral start, and Will is like, okay, I was invited to this. It's weird that I'm here, but shit's also weird here too. And I was curious, I guess. Berncastle, I got an invite with like all the past episodes. I just kind of skimmed through it, and by skimming through it, he means like he has everything memorized and pieced together on his end, potentially from all those. And so I'm already just like, okay, so he's like Kirito in that like nothing's really a challenge for him. It's just
literally is Saber and Kirito, huh?
Yeah.
It is.
Chandler.
Actually,
he's yeah.
Leon that you keep talking about, it's not in my version of the manga. They keep calling him Saber. I'm not sure what's up.
Oh yeah, that's a little weird. That's a little weird.
I posted a screenshot.
They keep calling William Kirito 420 in my version. You know, it's just weird.
The
So,
allegations, you're not getting away this time, Ari. Okay.
and the weirdest, the weirdest thing that stands out to Will is not the fact that there is a funeral going on for Beatrice. It's the fact that Lion exists at all at first.
Yeah.
Which
He's like-
honestly is same.
He's like, who the fuck are you?
He's like, the fuck are you doing here? What do you mean you're supposed to be the heir? That's not even how that's supposed that works. What Kraus is still alive. How are you going to be the heir? But supposedly,
Jessica?
yeah, supposedly Lion's just like, yeah, so I'm going to be the heir once I turn 20, regardless of what's going on with Kraus or whatever. And Will's like, the fuck? That's not how that works. He's like, well, it is now. So,
It is because I said so.
also, okay, I had a question. Why is Will called Wright the Mage Hunter? What is the Mage Hunter part?
Wizard hunter.
Well, okay,
He's a
wizard,
witch.
mage.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's a witch hunter, basically.
Okay, all right, because that's what I was getting confused on. I was like, how does that differ from like the witch hunters or whatever? Okay, and witch hunters, like the SSVD, my assumption is that it's supposed to just be like symbolic of like just detective novel fans who just logically solve the cases. Is this what it's supposed to be like representative of, like in a meta context?
Yeah, I think that's a fun interpretation.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if like I kept getting confused, and I was getting confused when I was sending out the Call of Cthulhu stuff too. I was like, does witch hunter refer to people trying to disprove witches or trying to prove witches? I was like, because it seems like they would be trying to disprove, because when you hear about a witch hunt, you're trying to, it's in a negative context, so that you're trying to like hunt after a witch or whatever, like just. But I didn't know if it also referred to like witch hunting, like ghost hunting, where you're searching for them not because you're trying to exorcise them, but because you're like interested in them or whatever. So I was.
In the context of the Inquisitors, they are given those names specifically because that's the amount of witches that they have killed, that they have persecuted personally.
Sure.
So, like, Dlanar and Will both have high body counts.
Oh my god. Will, but he's retired, so you know he's.
But he's tired of that life. He's like, you know what? Nobody pays attention to the heart. Okay.
He's just going to a little murder mystery.
Retiring early, okay?
He's just going to a little funeral mystery for funsies, you know, just in retirement. It's no big deal.
I just retired to go back on. God damn.
But then he finds out he's locked in there, so he can't leave. So he's like, all right, I guess I'll solve the case now. I can't leave, so fuck it. Also, Lion and everybody else can't leave too, I think.
Yeah,
not that they're in a
can
rush to, but it's all to
They're
set
in
up
a
the
rush.
scene for Will to just talk with the family here and figure out the main thing we're trying to figure out is who killed Beatrice. And in order to solve that, we first have to figure out who is Beatrice and what does it mean to kill Beatrice in this sense. Because that could mean a whole bunch of different things, especially considering we do not have a body for this funeral, which is a thing that he points out breaks one of his rules. He's like, I don't see a fucking body. That's against the rules. That's like rule 7 or 6 or something.
Something like that.
And Vercastle's like, well, devil's proof. You don't know that there's not a body. It could be somewhere
God
else.
damn it.
He's like, oh,
That was
you know."
cathartic to finally have the old rules back. I was like, finally something I remember, I understand.
This makes sense to me.
So Will here is the detective now. He's in a much more better position than Battler ever was because he's actually competent. I think Minmod even joked saying like Will is the non-incompetent variation of Battler.
Yeah. Will at this point, I mean,
because he's deductive, but also he's not biased like Battler is. Battler is heavily biased towards a lot of this because he's a member of the family, and so he has different views on the people involved with it and the facts of the story, and like how he's been exposed to it. Whereas Will, he didn't really have to suffer with those things, and also he's been doing this for years. But that's a different matter. But he's just like, yeah, well, I could just look at this more objectively. Like, obviously, you know. Someone in the family could be involved with the murders and things like that, and like this person might be doing this, and this person Nanjo might be lying about this, and things like that. So
Don't do
he's
my man Nanjo dirty like that.
was it
I will not
Nanjo.
accept Nanjo slander.
Nanjo. His role was just
What,
like
chap?
no.
What
I'm
do you
just-
have to say about Nanjo?
Hey, Tone it down, motherfucker, okay? Tone it down. All right? I'm the only one here who's not been bullying you tonight. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. Okay.
Fair. Mine
You calm down. All right. Nanjo, he hasn't even had that bad of a role. They kind of were treating him like shit when he didn't really do that much. It was just like, yeah, so Kinzo came to me at one point, asked me to treat him and not say anything about it, and then gave me gold, and I was just like, sure. And then he did. And it was like
stressful times, I guess.
Like, I mean, he did lie for like 2 years about Kinzo being dead, but that's whatever. That's fine.
Well, not maybe not this time. Sort of, kind of.
Well,
if you think about it,
that is the other thing too. Kinzo's alive here, hanging around crying about Beatrice being dead. In fact, he's like one of the first people that Wills talks to about this stuff. I think he was the very first. Oh, I'm sorry. I think before we even got to it, or maybe it was a little after, we had the thing get double confirmed to us. Well, not entirely, about Shannon and Cannon, where he talks with Cannon at first when he comes in, walks past him. Shannon comes in, talks to him for a bit at some point, and he's like, "Hey, can you like stay here, and then we can get like Cannon in here too? Can I get like both of you in here at once and talk to you both?" And Shannon's like a robot, like a defective robot, cannot process, cannot do. Can I get you something else? Can we do something else? Can we not talk about this? And he's like,
"Are you sure you want to do that?"
Yeah.
Down bad for machines all time.
And I'm just like, okay. I'm like, okay, I already pieced together they're one person now, but now you're like really hammering it away that this can't happen. But I'm like, okay. What are you gonna say?
There is a narration in the VN that I'm sad did not make it here in some form, and I didn't take a screenshot of it. But basically, when Will's doing that, where he's like reaching out to attempt his theater-going power, she is it's like the look on Shannon's face as she told him, are you sure you want to do this? Was the same kind of polite but sinister feeling as when an opponent is telling you that you're about to be in check during chess, where it's this is the polite way of saying, if you want to do this, you're fucked.
So you tell me it's a chess reference.
It's all chess. It's all chess all the way down.
It's all chess.
So essentially him saying that I would like you both to be here is like, well, you shouldn't do that just yet or else you will lose. Okay.
You shouldn't do that at all in this game.
All? Okay. Well, I mean, to me it was just clearly saying like we can't both be in the same room, and therefore you've like figured out that they are one person because they cannot both be in the same room at once. In this fragment, I guess, this like cobbled together combined fragment thing, I guess, because it's supposed to be like telling me that like he's able to piece together the answers, and so it's presented in a way that they cannot be both in the same room, even though in the past episodes they can both be in the same room. Because I'm trying to think if there was ever a time in the past episodes where they weren't allowed to be in the same room together, or they were never in the same room together. I'm pretty sure they have been in the same room together in like
were they in
almost every case.
Same room in the 2 locked rooms that Erica made in the last game under Battler's supervision?
The one that was under Battler supervision, that was the one where Shannon was on. Shannon was just climbed on top of Cannon, rubbing her tits in his face in Battler's game.
Don't think too hard about those sections.
Don't think too hard about that one.
Those are being Bato's games, so
sure.
And Lambda's, I guess.
Sure, they were also together in the first game, though.
Allegedly.
But yeah,
also,
but like
I'm posting some screenshots in the spoiler chat.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so like that was a I'll show this one on there. So that was one thing that was happening in this episode with that, where it's just like, we're not doing that. Cannot do it. Just can't be done. Can't be done. We're not doing this here. We're not doing it. So like here in the VN, you're saying it was presented like that. In the manga, it looked like her face was getting like all distorted and like evil and upset or whatever. And like it was something that like she is physically incapable of doing, and it pains her that she can't do it. That's how it looked like in the manga, at least.
Yeah.
Which was again just solidifying to me, okay, they're just one person, and this is just really hammering away to the people who did not figure it out from last episode yet. That was how I took away from it. But so
Which was me.
so
What do you mean you didn't figure it out?
so we had that interaction, but the main thing, a lot of this reading for this week was about Kinzo's backstory, which was we got to see young Kinzo. First of all, we already get to see
Why young Kinzo kinda hot though?
I
In
remember,
the-
I just remind that
In the
not
vid,
finds the mantis hot, so they make
In
it
the
so
vid-
much.
he couldn't be asked to make new sprites. So do you want to know
What?
what he did?
what?
Do you wanna
No,
know
what
what he
is it? What is it show? What is it show? What? What did he do? Is this his Battler recolored? What is this?
Yes. Yes.
What?
Yes.
He recolored Battler?
Like, I know you want to hammer in that young Kenzo looks like young Battler, but like, this looks
Also-
so bad with episode 7.
Also, real quick, what is this dialogue in this screenshot? That's a relief. I always assumed the seas of Japan would smell like soy sauce. What a coincidence. I always thought Italians had hair made of pasta.
Integral part. It's really part.
It's called flirting, okay?
Is this Riz? Chat,
This
is
is
this
all they
Riz?
had in World War II, okay?
Is this Chad, is this Riz? Is this
At no point in any of this did I ever think that young Kinzo looked like Battler. The entire time, he looked like Maury from Oran High School Host Club. The whole time.
Which is funny
Facial
too.
structure, eye shape, hairstyle.
It's hilarious that he was like a reskinned Battler sprite in the VN, because I had remembered earlier on, I think at some point somebody had mentioned that Battler like looked like he almost resembled Kinzo like when he was younger in a way, and I didn't know if that was supposed to be a reference to that, because I was just like, bro, we actually just reskinned fucking Kinzo, what the fuck, or reskinned Battler to Kinzo. Anyways, young Kinzo off in World War II, he joins in because he wants to die. He's like, I've been made the puppet head of the family after like the Great Kanto earthquake fucked with our spinning mills, and the whole family's just like, this shit's fucked. We're gonna put him in charge, do whatever the fuck we want. He's gonna take all the blame reputation wise for whatever the fuck we do. And he's just like, I don't really get to do anything. I'm just gonna go off to the war and hope I die. And so he gets shipped off to an island where nothing fucking happens, and it has like no actual like place in the war. It seems like it's an island that's been forgotten about in the war, and like the Italians have already surrendered, and they're like, well, we got nothing to fucking do, so they just clean up the island and they just live there for a while. Kinzo, I think, gets like looked down on by a lot of the people there. I don't remember if it was because of his money or just his always gloomy attitude or what, but our boy is like super fucking depressed and hoping like the Americans will show up and fucking kill them at any moment, and they're not getting any fights. But then one day a submarine shows up, an Italian submarine.
The Italians are at it again.
And Kinzo's the only one who nobody there knows Italian, but Kinzo knows English. So
Fair enough.
they have Kinzo speak with their English translator, and their English translator is Beatrice, who is Italian. And her actual way you pronounce her name, I think it was like Beatrice or something like that. I forget.
Beatrice, I'm pretty sure, is the Italian version of it, and also the Japanese.
Does that mean she has him call her bitche for the
So
entire?
that was the thing.
Yes.
He gets to calling her a
Yes.
nickname. It calls her a shortened version, which is Biche. And I'm like, are we supposed to be calling her bitch? We're supposed to be calling her bitch?
That is the funniest. I got to that part, and I'm like, okay, I gotta swap to the Japanese part. Let me see this kata.
Let me hear it.
Okay, here's the footnote. Here's the translation footnote I have on this. As Beatrice is Italian, her name is pronounced in the Italian way, not Beatrice, but Beatrice. This nickname of the Italian Beatrice is thus pronounced Biche. So yeah, it was so Biche.
The Rizzler. What can I say?
What I mean,
She asks her. to call her that.
she does. She says, he's like, all right, sure.
Okay.
Truly a feminist.
And it's not like this is
that, but in English.
yeah, I was gonna say this is not like an issue where like they don't know that word exists in English. They're like they both are speaking to each other in English. So so anyways, they're talking. They get to know each other for a while. They find out that the Italian sub has come from there. They have like a secret mission or whatever. They've ended up there because they had something go wrong with their sub and they had to go somewhere. So now they're there at that Rokujima base, and what was it? The Ensign is the main guy on the Italian side. The Ensign, and then the guy who's running the place over on the Japanese base. They're having discussions about what's to be done, and they're like, okay, so we'll just keep you guys here for a while. And as Kinzo and Beatrice talk, Kinzo falls in love with this woman because he's like, I've been miserable, just been hoping I would die, and now this woman's here. I can actually talk to her. She's very nice to talk to. We have like things that we can joke about together. I can say, I think your hair is made of pasta. There's a woman here. Yeah. He's like, I have a wife and I have a couple kids already too. I think he had like Kraus, Ava, and Rudolph already, but not Rosa yet. And
yeah, he had several by then.
But he, had them very young, so like they're like just little babies at home probably at this point, and he's off at the war, and he's just like, I have a wife, but I've never given a fuck about her. It was like a political family marriage thing that I had to have children with or whatever, so I don't really care about that. So fuck it. Why not just have a relationship with this woman here? And so over time, they like grow very, very close. And then the Italians and the Japanese soldiers are like suspicious of each other the whole time about what's going on because they don't know why the Italians are here or what the plan is with all this stuff. Like they know the Italians have already surrendered in the war, so they don't really know why they're still here. Or why they even came to this Japanese island in the first place? What the fuck they're doing all the way out here? And why they still have a mission to do in the in the second place? Because it's like, you guys have already surrendered. What's going on here? And we find out when the Ensign trusts Kinzo enough to try to explain the situation to him and then talk with their commanding officer and stuff. They have been transporting a shit ton of Italian gold away from Italy in an attempt to prevent the gold from being taken away from them, during the war efforts. And now they know the Italians have surrendered in the war. So they have all this gold, but they can't bring it back and they can't let it get found because otherwise all the gold for their home country is just going to get taken away and given to the Allies. So they're like, all right, so we are just going to hide this for a while. And I guess we're just going to be parked here because our submarine's a little fucked right now. And it can't handle the weight of it. And so they talk with the Japanese commanding guy, and the guy in charge there is like immediately trying to see if he can like scam them out of gold in this situation. Now at first they're having discussions like, okay, well, we can just hold the gold here. Nobody gives a fuck about this island. People forgot about this island throughout most of the war. They're probably never going to come to this island for a very long time. We could just hide the gold here, some underground area or some part of the base, and all we'll ask, we ask for a percentage of the gold. I forget what the numbers were, but they kept debating about the numbers and percentages of all that. And, the Ensign's just like, you guys are trying to just take so much from us. And the guy's like, well, listen, it's payment that you got to do, because otherwise we can just report this shit too. We can just report this and then you get none of it.
It was originally 50-50. The Italians came back with an offer of the Japanese get 10%. And the Japanese offer said, final order, we get 40, they get 60. And then shit hits the fan.
Yeah. I think I was confused at how they were wording that, because I was like, you're going from 50 to 10%. And then somehow we got to 40. So I think it was something like we would move it by 10%, and then that's how you get to the 40-60. And I was like, okay, all right. So that's what they were. And the guy was like, yeah, let's do it, deal. And you're like, okay, so they got a deal going. They do not have a deal going. We got gold involved. We got a shit ton, 10 tons of gold involved that nobody else knows about. Nobody else knows about this gold right now. This is a secret mission. So
And it's a bunch of highly armed men on this base.
now, granted, they're not highly skilled because they're not doing a lot of like combat there on the island. Most of the time, they're cleaning, farm work, and all that kind of stuff. But still, this is their home base. So, and there's a lot more of them than the Italians, So they get into a whole bunch of fights. First, I think they try to throw a grenade into the room where all the Italians are discussing this, and the grenade turns out to be a dud. And it doesn't blow up. So now everybody's shooting each other. And I was like, once the shooting started, I was like, okay, every single person here is going to die except Kinzo and Beatrice. This is exactly what's going to happen. And that was exactly what happened. Literally everybody on the base killed each other. And then Kinzo and Beatrice happened to be the only ones left alive. And so that's how he ends up with all the gold. By the sheer luck of everybody killing each other and then them both surviving. Now, when I say survived, I believe Beatrice takes a bullet or it grazes her or something like that. And so they have to get her treated. So Beatrice at first is just saying like, no, don't take me there because then they're going to find out about me. And Kenzo's like, I'm not doing that shit. What the fuck are you talking about? You're going to fucking die. So I'm just going to take a gold bar. We'll take you to Dr. Nanjo. I got my buddy doctor friend there. I'll pay him a gold fucking bar. He won't say shit. And then we'll get you treated up. And then everything's good. So they leave. They, I think he had a whole like fight with the commander guy too briefly. And that's how Beatrice got shot. And the whole time I was just like, I was just like not giving a fuck about that whole like this commander's the bad guy thing. I'm just like, this guy could have gotten killed off screen by like some random fucking person for all I cared. I was just like, I get the message. The message is that Kinzo survived with Beatrice and he did everything he could to try to help Beatrice get off there. Like, trying to like take a bullet for her and things like that. Like he was like trying to, I think he even saw a friend of his just die in front of him who was trying to warn him about them and things like that. So
yeah,
because he was in the mindset in his head. He was like, I joined this hoping that a fight would happen and I would die. Now it's happening and I don't want to die at all. But now it's because he has Beatrice now and he doesn't want Beatrice to die. And so he wants to protect Beatrice and be with her because she actually makes him happy. He's made her happy or made him happy. So they leave, talk to Nanjo, get healed up. And eventually Kinzo uses I think one gold bar or something like that to begin investment in business stuff. And then once he makes enough to buy the island again, he buys it. And now he has all the gold because the rest of the gold was still on the island. And he buys it from Tokyo Metro or something like that. So he buys it from the government and using only a little bit of the gold bars because he can't transport all of them out. And then once he buys the island, now he has all of the gold. And that's how he gets his wealth. And then he keeps using parts of the gold bars to, interest investors and grow his businesses, I'm assuming. And
as collateral and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So the gold is real. And at this point in time, I'm assuming the submarine is still on the island and the gold's probably just all in the submarine. That's my assumption.
Well, no, because they
unloaded
took
it
it
from
off
the
the
submarine.
submarine. Because the submarine was going to sink or something because
Yeah.
the gold was too heavy. So loading it off of the submarine is what made them realize. I think Kenzo buried it, didn't he? Or was that just something that they had talked about doing?
They talked about doing that, but yeah, the gold is off the submarine.
Okay.
But I'm imagining it's probably still in the submarine bunker, that area, because that's what would be safe from an explosion.
I feel like the fact that
It is still on the island, yes.
in my head, though, even if the gold's not in the submarine, my head is just like, we've introduced a submarine into this plot and an explosion later. I feel like the submarine is still somewhere, or a new submarine is somewhere.
So the submarine was taking on water too much, which is why they disembarked it. So that submarine, I mean, that's what, 40 years later, that thing is decommissioned. But the bunker base itself is still there. That's how he went to Kuadorian and such without detection, because it's
Right when I was
already
40 years
there.
later.
Right. Wait. Am I not understanding? Is Kuadorian supposed to be the military base? Or is it just a way to... The military base or the tunnels to it supposed to be to get to Kuadorian?
To get to it.
The military
Okay.
base. is the tunnels
Kuadorian
to
is a mansion.
Okay, because I was gonna say that's wild if it turns out this mansion Beatrice is living in is just a military base, and Rosa stumbled into a military base.
It's a proper mansion, but it is connected to the military base.
Okay.
The military base is, if we're talking in previous episodes, where they would have gotten transported before that weird flag thing that you mentioned with Kraus beating up the ram or whatever. Because that's like the tunnels that they escape out of in whatever the fuck that episode was or something.
Yeah.
That's how that would have happened there.
Yeah. So that was essentially the backstory of the original Beatrice. Because as we established, and we pretty much already figured this out pretty early on in the reading with the fact that we've introduced inherited titles of Beatrice, especially once Ava received the title of Beatrice and then gave it to Anjay and things of the like. We had the original Beatrice, who was in fact Kinzo's mistress. That's Biche, or Bitch if you prefer.
Castiglione?
Italian Beatrice.
The fucking Italian.
Italian,
the Italian
Beatrice. Mamma mia. Okay, so it was the Italians all along. So we have Italian Beatrice, who was Kinzo's mistress.
Rocky will be proud.
Then you have Beatrice's daughter that Kinzo had with her, who was also named Beatrice. And this is where we get into more of Kinzo's dark past stuff. So I just want to say, this is one of the things I was correct about, okay? And I'm so, I'm not happy I'm correct about it in some ways, but I'm also... I'm like astounded that it actually happened too. I'm like, oh, I got it right, but also, oh no, I got it right.
Oh no, I got it right.
Oh no. So Kinzo had the daughter with Beatrice, also named Beatrice, and Beatrice herself passed away. I forget if it said of what, maybe an illness or something.
Childbirth.
I don't remember. Childbirth, that's what it was. Okay, so she passed away in childbirth, but now we have a new Beatrice.
Apparently.
But as she grows up, she's looking more and more like Beatrice to Kinzo. And as I suspected, he eventually gets feelings for his daughter Beatrice, similar to he had for his mistress Beatrice. And at a certain age, they have another kid. So we're having Beatrice 3 with his daughter. So incest, groomed Beatrice, another daughter, which also goes into the other theory I had about the parallels between how Battler was treating the fledgling Beatrice in the last one and being a placeholder for like Kinzo and like a daughter Beatrice looked similar. That was exactly what that all was. It was just like him being like, you look like Beatrice, but you're not like Beatrice at all. You're not the real, you don't have the memories of her. So but she's like, but father, what can I do to make you interested? What have I done? And then so that was the parallels with that I had assumed was going on with that. But so they have another daughter, and this other daughter is supposedly the current Beatrice of the story, from my understanding. Now, we come to the realization, or when I say we, I really mean Will, because of course Will's the one that understands all this. He connects all the pieces. He connects all the pieces.
Chadlard, yeah.
So, if I'm understanding this right, the current Beatrice is Lion, but not, but like a version of that. There's like, they had like a whole Schrodinger's box simulated towards it, because we can't have a VN without Schrodinger's box mentioned at least 5 times.
This one did it before the others.
It did, but
rumblings in the TV show. Now that you understand.
I was like, so there's like 2 different scenarios. One where Beatrice is accepted by the family, and not like hidden away, and this is what Lion is.
Natsuki.
Right.
Specifically, the verge point between Lion and the culprit, who we get their name and they are referred to as Yasu. I'm trying to be very vague here.
That's fine. That's fine. But it's the baby from 19 years ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the one that Natsuki throws away.
The baby that Kinzo gives to Natsuki 19 years ago, right after Kuadorian Beatrice dies, whether she decides to actually raise this child or not, this child that was brought up in episode 5, if she decides to raise this child, that child will grow up to be Lion Ushiromiya. If she does not, that child will grow up to be a servant who we are referring to as Yasu right now.
Yep. And it seems implied that will probably eventually become the Beatrice, the murderer or whatever.
That will absolutely become Beatrice.
So, yes. So that was essentially like the big reveal of like why it's weird Lion's there and why we are jumping ahead in the row of succession of the family to Lion is specifically because Kinzo in this version of the world would have chosen to say fuck you to Kraus and all my other kids to my other wife. I only give a fuck about the Beatrice line of the family now. So I want it all to go to Lion, and then afterwards we could go to whatever children they have probably. Because in this version of it, he only gave a fuck about the Beatrice side of the family in terms of that kind of stuff. So that's why that kind of thing was established. And then towards the end, we'll talk about more later. Towards the end, we talk about the whole the backstory related to the version of the events when the baby is yeeted off the bridge by Natsuki.
That's a way to phrase it.
It's accurate.
Listen. So, but before we get to that, William talks with some other members of the family first. We have a couple conversations with a couple members. We talk with Nanjo, which was how you got into the don't bully Nanjo kind of thing, because he immediately refers to, so you're the one who got bribed.
They were like, oh, you were in it for the gold. And I was like, dude.
That was specifically a line that Kinzo said in reference to, because Kinzo mentions, I don't think he says Nanjo's name, but they know it's Nanjo, because he's like, yeah, there's this doctor that I had to take Bito to when she got shot, and I had to cover up the whole thing, but I was managed to bribe this doctor with some gold, and he helped me. So
yeah, but then when Lion goes to talk to him, they were just like really mean to him, and I'm like, don't be mean to him.
He's a grown man. I think he's fine.
He's also a liar. He's been lying for 2 fucking years about Kinzo being dead. Okay.
Yeah.
He's embezzling Ushiromiya funds, okay?
Nanjo would never.
He's skimming off of Natsuki's funds.
By the way, okay. I had a realization, partly from the reading, in the middle of the reading, but partly also as part of revisiting episode 1 for my Call of Cthulhu planning, along with remembering certain events from whatever episode Kraus was trying to plot shit with Natsuki or whatever. So
that's 5.
I want to extend my general theory about certain things. So I had mentioned before how I wasn't sure, because we know that the epitaph and the portrait were made 2 years ago. And I had previously said, I don't know if Kinzo had anything to fucking do with this thing. I was trying to think if it could be the case that these were both things that were just in his room before and they were moved into the entrance hall, or if none of these things existed before and they were only crafted. But the main thing though is, no matter the case, I think Kraus in his desperation, because he knows shit is fucked in terms of the money, he has signed away the thing, and now Kinzo is dead, and he's like, how the fuck are we gonna get out of this situation? Well, father does have this epitaph. He has some kind of map that's supposed to lead to the gold. I don't know how the fuck to solve the thing. I'm going to put it in the entrance hall. And I'm going to, I'm going to see if anybody else in the family helps, solve it. And when they do, then we have the gold. Then we're fine. We can get ourselves out of this problem. Even if I don't inherit it, at least, the family won't be fucked because we can pay off the debtors. And everything will be fine as long as they solve it before they find out Kinzo's dead. Which was why, because I was wondering myself if Kraus was trying to, because it seemed like to me, Kraus was trying to, do some weird things to try to get out of the debt, but like he didn't know how exactly to do it. But like he knows that Kinzo's dead, but he can't let them know about it. So he's trying to extend it to like a plan of his works. Supposedly he was waiting for like a business investment to work out. We know it was not going to work out.
He's waiting on moon tourism stocks, okay?
And I was remembering.
No one is best.
I was remembering in one of the early episodes, he was debating with the siblings because the siblings were like, you know, arguing about how much their inheritance should be. They're like, you've been embezzling the funds. So, but he's like, I know your businesses are failing too, and things like that. They're arguing percentages and all the like. And I think he mentions a joke throwaway line about like, you know, maybe we should solve the epitaph together, guys. Ha ha ha. And I'm just like, this motherfucker, he knows the gold is real. He doesn't know how the fuck to get to it. So he's trying to trick people into doing the epitaph. And nobody wanted to do it for like 2 fucking years. So, so now he's trying to orchestrate. So now he's trying to orchestrate. Maybe in the first episode, you know, maybe people weren't actually dead at first. I don't know. But he was like trying to like get people interested in the epitaph. Nobody gave a fuck. But now there's actual dead bodies. So I don't fucking know. But I'm just like, this is my current theory about what the fuck was going on with the epitaph and what was going on with it. Also, another thing too, I don't know if this is relevant. The guest house was built 2 years ago as well. That's like a brand new fucking place. That was not there 2 years ago. I didn't understand what the fuck that was about. That's a little weird, I think. No? Okay. Anyways.
The family's very big now, okay? We got big room.
We will get a lot more answers on the epitaph in the next
I know. But these were like things coming in, because I was trying to think of like how to rework some elements of it for the Cthulhu campaign, and part of it was trying to think of like how to explain why the epitaph is there and things of that nature and things like that. So, but anyways, those are just ideas going through my head. And then Burncastle's like popping up every now and then to like talk to Will, I think, later on, being like,
goad him.
Being like, yeah, so I guess you're kind of interesting me with like what you're doing here. You're sort of piecing things together. And then Will talks with Maria. Maria's thing is like, it was surprising too, because it seemed like Maria always worshipped Beatrice, never looked down on her. But then Maria's like, yeah, so she seemed very amateur at this whole witch thing at first. I was like, this is kind of shit at this. She's like trying to show me these tricks, and they're pretty cool though. They're pretty cool, but you know, I looked at like, you know, she didn't seem like she was very good at this, and I was just like, oh, okay. But the main thing was she hung out with Beatrice, and it helped her forget about her mother, I think. She didn't have to worry about like when her mother was mistreating her, I think was like what you were supposed to probably pick up on as the reader. And she was like,
yeah, she gained a friend.
She interested herself in the occult as like a way to kind of make herself stand out and like be like her own kind of thing. But then nobody in the family gave a shit about that except for Beatrice. So it was like
it's giving my aunt that thinks her ex's niece is the Antichrist.
I don't know what any of these words mean.
I think most people just take it as she's kind of autistic, but like you could take it that way too, I guess.
Oh no, I think I said this in chat, but I've taken this as like this is giving like religious psychosis to me as somebody who has a family member.
She did mention that
in religious psychosis.
I did. I noticed that too. I forgot to mention that too. Yes, I remember that. I was like, she's like, I heard a Bible verse, and I'm like, oh, that's like me. That's just like me. I'm like, oh no.
And then she made it her entire personality.
She's like, she's like, yeah, the Holy Ghost, the Spirit. Yeah, that's me. That's me. Yeah, I don't have a father. That's kind of weird, isn't it? Why don't I have a father? What's up with that?
So yeah, the whole thing is giving like psychosis to me.
Yeah. I posted a couple of screenshots of Madia's explanation of that in the VN, where she's like, "Yeah, I was born of the Holy Ghost."
Oh,
clearly. Oh god, wait! You put the Will face in here. I gotta show the Will face. Okay, let me show the Will face. All right, the Will face, the colored Will face that has been stuck in my mind every time I think the phrase "never forget the heart." It's just him shouting with this face. I'm sorry. This is
great.
This is gonna be an emote probably. I'm probably gonna make this an emote.
And Even compared to like all of the other official art, it's just like I hate him in this style. I'm sorry, I'm a hater. I love Will and Leon.
Listen,
this
Alright,
style.
Hey,
Fine,
never
you
forget
try
the
to-
heart, okay? Never forget the heart.
Don't forget. What about my heart? Huh?
Too bad.
Suffering.
Too bad. Didn't care.
Plus L plus ratio.
Anyway, so the Italians. Right? I love
So the
too
Italian.
when you're reading the like Maria stuff and she's quoting the Bible and then the bomb is just like the Bible verse that it's located in and things like that. She's just reciting entire quotes of the Bible just offhand to Will because she's like read that much about it. And it's just okay, so she's really got into that stuff. But like it didn't seem like it was like religious. It was like like interested in religious like books as a like a work of fiction to revolve her life around. It didn't seem like she actually gave a fuck about the religious side of it. She just was interested in the magical side of it, and how it connected with her. So that's what was going on with that. A lot of it was just trying to go through why Maria is obsessed with the occult, and a lot of it I was like, we could have cut this down. There's a lot of it. And I was just like, what happened to the answers we were supposed to be getting? We were like sort of getting them for a bit when she was
You're
like,
getting
yeah, so
answers to things you didn't even know you had questions about.
I didn't know I gave that much of a shit about how obsessed Maria was with the occult. I was like, I just hope she's doing well when it comes to
like,
Rosa.
We could have surmised that from literally the first episode because she was doing this shit like when she first got introduced.
I'm just imagining like Featherine's just like, no, really, I really want to dig deeper in this, and Burns like, really, this part?
This is what you care about?
Okay.
You're just like, Featherine, are you doing some like venting here through this work? Like, what's going on with you? What's going on? That's what I would be thinking.
That's the tea party we should have seen.
True. So, Maria and Beatrice talking, then they get Anjay involved later on and with like their like marriage soiree, whatever the fuck you're supposed to, the alliance of the witches that they had going on. And then that eventually we know what happened with that. They eventually broke up and all that, and yeah.
Specifically, she gains a friend because someone on the island pities her and sees her and approaches her, realizing that this young girl is very impressionable, and she perceives people differently depending on their emotions, depending on how they react to her.
She's a fucking empath.
Even if they don't physically change, if they
that was the
act
important thing.
differently, then she will perceive them as a different person. So someone on Rokkenjima approached Maria and began acting as if the witch, Beatrice, possessed them.
Which is where I get
became Beetle.
Which is where I get back into what we discussed about last week. I'm like, okay, are we acting or is this like DID? What is going on with this? Like, what is?
That's the thing. Goddamn.
Of all the things that happened that stood out to me the most was the fact that this person that is acting as Beto ended up like serving the mother role that Rosa was lacking. Like, despite this person taking advantage of the fact that Maria is impressionable, at the end she was also like, oh yeah, and don't forget to like wash your hands and like gargle with mouthwash, but otherwise you won't be able to see me again.
Specifically, it was like, here's the candy from that wasn't. Here's the cup. Do the cup trick. Oh, now there's a piece of candy in it. Hold on to the candy, but keep believing in me. If you don't believe in me, it'll start melting. And then later on, it's melted a little bit. She's like, oh no, I have to keep believing in Beatrice. It's just because it was like a hot fucking day. It's a piece of it's caramel. It's a caramel. Like. It's yeah. And
specifically, like, we see, because the person that Maria is talking about is the Beater that we know. That is the person who becomes her. And we see, like, in episode 4, she does really care about Maria at the end of the day. Like, you know, she is a cruel witch, but she does care about this young, impressionable girl.
Sure. Now, there was a couple things discussed, and it was important towards the reveal later on about Lion, about the seating order at the table. because I had noticed this as well when I was playing for the Cthulhu thing, because I needed to seat all the adults in a certain way, and then it's very integral how they're seated, because they're seated by order of their rank in the family. Kinzo at the head of the table, then second and third, you know, the next row, and then so on and so forth. So Will's like asking, like, who were you sitting next to? And she was like, I was sitting next to what was it, Mama or something like that? Or she was sitting next to somebody who he was like, you shouldn't be sitting next to that person if it was how I imagined it to be. But because Lion's there, now things are different. You know, the seating order is slightly changed now that Lion is involved in the seating. Because you'd have the direct children of Kinzo first, then you'd have the children of the grandchildren, then you'd have the spouses. You know, so it'd be ordered like that on the table. But now it's a couple people are moved slightly differently because now Lion's involved, and Lion's like a grandchild, but also supposed to be the next head of the family and things of that regard.
Grandchild, a child. I'm so sorry, Leon.
You know. So, and the way that I found out I was right about the whole like Kinzo grooming a young Beatrice to have another incest child or whatever, that was like, they explained it like you are both the child and grandchild of Kinzo, and I'm like, no, we don't have to say it like that. That's please, we don't have to say it like that. I don't.
Poor Leon.
Oh, you're being kind of cool at some point. What happened?
Kinzo was cool until we actually confirmed the whole incest pedo grooming thing. What was up with that? Why? Anyways, okay. So we had the discussion with Maria. I think he also talked with Jessica. I think Jessica's thing was mostly about feeling like she was not good enough. Was that what it was? I forget what it was.
Yeah,
I was getting confused because I was like, is this in terms of while Lion exists or just without Lion existing? Because I was getting confused about that.
The only times these pieces realize that they are from a different fragment than Leon is when Will brings up the inconsistencies of the seating arrangement.
Oh, I see.
So for all other circumstances, Byrne has given them the memories of the pieces from Lion's world. So you could interpret that as like most of these pieces are from Leon's world, but the seat order is something that they remember from different fragments, but
Sure.
Byrne, forced that onto them, or that none of these are from Leon's world, and Leon is the only one that she brought over, and she just gave them the memories that they would have if they grew up around them.
Sure. And so the main thing with Jessica's story was like, so Lion was just better than me at everything, and it was not good for me. Like, I was like, I want to run for this like student council position. So can you not do it? And then Lion did it and then won.
Such a straight shots. I took a lot. I love you, Leon. She's like, I just wanted to do literally anything.
Oh, wait.
And then here's my sibling just showing me up on everything.
Yes, I'm showing I'm showing this image. I love it. This is the one I posted too. This is a good the Leon face. Did you say something? Did you say something? And then the background face. The background face on the fucking thing.
I love them. Jessica should be a younger sibling.
So, but yeah, it was Jessica's just being like, I never really got a chance to do anything to stand out because Leon was just better at me at everything. And I think they like mentioned about like, oh, what about like your school band thing? And she's like, shh, don't mention that because then Leon's gonna do it and be better than me at it. Don't mention it. Don't mention that. I don't know what you're talking about. So, did we have a discussion with George? Did we get more incel lore drop?
No.
Byrne and Feathery just agreed. Nah, we don't need any more of that. Feather got good in the last episode. We're good.
I think the main thing that we pulled away from George was the fact that he is willing to sort of indulge in Maria's fantasies,
What's
and
the influence this whole time?
how far can that go before it becomes like a part of Beatrice's like identity? Because I had to reread this part a couple times to understand the line of Will's logic, which is why I remember it. But he was like, okay, so like George is indulging in Maria and creating this truth for Maria, right? What would have happened, or what did happen when the rest of the family did that for Kenzo, and suddenly Beatrice became real, not because Beatrice was real, but because there was this belief that Beatrice existed for the sake of Kenzo or something.
Yes.
I don't think it ever went anywhere, but I had to read that a couple times, and I still felt like I was very confused by the end of it.
So you can see part of that because one example he brings up is episode 1, where at the end of it, Genji is like, "No, they never had a child," which is not correct, but it is the correct answer because that is the answer that Kenzo would have wanted them to say. You know, they didn't have a child because that wasn't the child. That was a reincarnation.
Yeah, I
know,
remember that.
He has forced this idea onto them. And you can debate whether or not, are they doing it because he's their employer? Are they doing it because they feel pity for him at this point? Like, there's no changing the past. So, like, what is there to gain by doing this? What is there to lose by not doing it?
In that vein, I want to give big props this week to my boy Genji, okay? My boy Genji saved the day, okay? Big round of applause to Genji, okay? Amazing, okay? He was like, okay, Natsuki just tried to eat the baby. Baby's alive. Kenzo doesn't know this yet. I'm gonna hide this baby away from Kenzo this time. I'm not gonna let this child, who he's gonna think is Beatrice again, get near his incest grandfather here. I'm not gonna let that happen. So,
I don't know what to tell you.
That is really like, it's on one hand, it's like, okay, you forced this child to be an orphan servant, but on the other hand, it's like, that is kind of the best thing that Genji could have done.
Yeah.
Because like Genji, because like either Genji just leaves his job and runs off to raise this child, or he puts the child in a place where he has the most authority he probably ever will, because he is the head. Not only is he the head servant, but he is Kenzo's right-hand man.
Yeah.
So this is basically the best thing he could have done for this child.
Right. And
I will say
that
this isn't going to go anywhere because we don't have anything. The more that we get about all of the other servants, the more curious I am about Gouda. Because we have nothing about him.
I don't feel like we're gonna get anything more about Gouda. I feel like he's just a cook.
He's just a cook.
I feel like he's just a cook who doesn't like doing his job. I think.
That's what it is. He's just a cook. I'm
sorry. He's not cooking. He's not cooking. He's not cooking.
I'm reading. I had a mini vacation this week, and I was reading Tsubasa and the fan disc, and there's literally like an entire story that's just Gouda going through his backstory of like, yeah, I was like this high-end chef at this hotel, and then he goes through like the whole schism that happened at the hotel and how he went through all this whole training process to get to Rokujima and stuff. It's like he's just a cook.
I need to read that. Please.
He's just a guy. He's just a guy.
He's just a cook.
Who would let him cook? All right, so before we get into the Genji child raising backstory stuff, we instead have one other thing beforehand, which is also a part of Jessica's story, very integral part of Jessica's story. The VIP room.
The fucking doll.
The VIP room in the mansion, which I don't remember being mentioned before. I think
Beatrice was there once.
Yeah, I did remember that was the room Beatrice went into in like episode 2 when she showed up. Was it episode 2 or 3? One of the episodes when she showed up. She like went into that room.
But the doll, I don't think was.
Right.
It is kind of an odd detail to bring up this late.
So it's brought up specifically in connection with the fact that Will is trying to piece together a little bit of the history of like how Beatrice as a legend came to be today for everybody. And so, you know, it started off as like almost like it was like a weird evolution of the old stories Kumasawa would tell about how the island used to be like Akumajima or something like that. And it used to hold like old Japanese evil spirits until a spirit guy came by and established a mirror thing, like ghost story kind of things related to that. And then it's like, then the story went from don't go into the forest because there's wolves in there to like, don't go into the forest because Beatrice, the witch, is in there and things like that. And these are stories of which, Lion is not heard because Lion was not in that fragment to hear about that one. Because in Lion's fragment, Beatrice is not like a witch spirit thing. I think was how it was explained.
Right.
And so, Beatrice came about as like an evolution of that story in the fragment where the baby was yeeted off the cliff. And so, this is, how do I explain this? It was like, the legend of Beatrice was mostly a ghost story, and then it became like a more integrated thing that was like really more brought together as like a legend that was more prominent in the family than it actually was by the portrait and the epitaph showing up. Because to our perspective and Battler's perspective, at the beginning of the story, these things are just in the entrance hall. And Battler wasn't there for like 6 years prior, and they're talking about it. But like for a lot of the time, unless you like really focused early on the fact that they said it was built up 2 years ago, it felt almost like the family was talking about this fucking thing like it's always been there, but they've just kind of ignored it. But really, it hasn't always been there. It's only been there for a couple years, but it just feels like it's been there a lot longer than it has, and it's had a lot more of an impact because the legend of Beatrice the Witch has kind of evolved now and is like a more prominent like a ghost story for the children kind of thing. And Jessica, hearing some of these like stories, is told that there is a special VIP room that they were told not to go into or else they'll get in trouble. And supposedly Beatrice visits there in that room at like 2 a.m. every night.
Not 3 a.m. though. 1 hour off. God damn.
Yeah, no. So Jessica's like, that's bullshit. Fuck that shit. Give me the key. I'm going to check this out. So she gets the key, and at first she's like too nervous to do it, and then she's like, all right, the time's here. I guess I'll go check out the room. So she goes in, and there's a creepy fucking doll here. The whole room looks like it's
fun-size Beatrice. You should have told me.
Whole room is very fucking clean. The doll, I don't think it resembled anybody. I don't remember if it even looked like Beatrice. It was just a doll. I don't know what the fuck that was about. But it's just chilling on a chair. And Jessica's like, all right, well, that's a little creepy, but all right. Everything about this room seems fine. I guess I'll just wait around a bit. And then we get closer, and then phone starts ringing. So, okay, I'll answer the phone.
Yeah,
why does it sound like not Beatrice? Why does it sound like Maria is singing on the phone and she's not responding to me? And she's talking to me like I'm Beatrice? What is happening with this? And oh, the lights go out? Oh, did I just hear somebody scurrying around in the fucking place? Oh, the doll's gone now. The fuck happened to that? And it was like a whole series of things that like terrified her. And then she like thought about that for like ages afterwards. It like traumatized her.
Chap is sitting over here with like the fact that he's proving all of these like full theories, and I'm over here like, hey, I mentioned fucking dollhouses 2 months ago. Like, it's not anything, but like, why the fuck am I getting dolls now? Or my whole like weird gender shit with Leon, however the fuck. I need you to understand that I had been sitting on the idea that they were just that it had something to do with dollhouses for like months. I had only told Shadow because I wasn't going to be there for the stream that you guys were talking about theories. So I told Shadow about it during a Pokemon Rumble stream.
Yeah, and I don't think Shadow relayed that to us at all. What was your doll theory?
Oh, I must have sorry, my bad. I thought you mentioned it earlier.
I don't remember. If you did, I don't fucking remember it. So what was your dollhouse theory?
So obviously this is not the case, and I think I actually sent it in spoiler zone. But my dollhouse theory was the idea that this is just a game that Maria is playing with the cousins. Like this whole thing is just a game, because there is the idea of the red truth, and the thing that gets me is this might only be something that I experienced now that I'm saying this. But, you know, when you're, like, kids or whatever, and you're playing Barbies or, like, dolls, or, like, the big meme is mermaids. You know, you're out in the pool and you're playing mermaids with your friends. Half of the game is spent going... Half of the game is spent going, well, I'm more powerful than you because I have control of the sea and I can talk to animals. And the other person's going, well, actually, I can do this, this, and this, you know?
You're making the sound effects with the dolls. Pew!
So I've been sitting here going, oh, wouldn't it be funny if the red truth that Beto keeps using is actually Maria as a child being like, actually, you can only do this. And the blue truth is like George and Jessica and Battler having to like play into this, you know, reality that Maria is doing. Like George has been doing throughout the series.
Battler's just like, come on, Maria, that's not fair. Come on, Maria.
I got more into it where I was like, okay, like, yeah, like if you think about it, the fact that, you know, that Siesta Sisters or whatever, like dolls, like rabbits or whatever, like it's weird that they're part of this like 72 demon conglomerate, but only like this handful of them are rabbits. It's like you're gonna play with whatever you have on hand, right? So you're gonna have like these little rabbit dolls that might represent like the Siesta Sisters or whatever, and then maybe you have one doll that's canon and Shannon because you only have one doll that has black hair or something. And it's Shannon, you can argue that it's canon and Shannon. So obvious, I was like, that's fucking, like, the further that we get on it, it's like, that's fucking stupid. But then suddenly I'm given a doll, and I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
I do, like, with the doll thing, there is, like, some other doll imagery, if we think about it, because there's, like, in episode 5, there is Virgilia, you know, like, sitting there taking care of the comatose Beto, and she's basically like a doll. She's sitting there prim and proper and stuff, just getting her hair brushed as you would like a doll, taking care of it. And then like with the Kuadorian Beto, she's pretty much just a doll for display, for Kenzo's enjoyment, sadly. You know, just the...
Oh God, don't worry it like that, please. Don't worry it like that. Oh my God.
I was trying to figure out a better way to say it, and that was the better way.
Oh no.
Like, just the idea that, like, she is not really a person. She is more a doll or a piece of furniture for the Ushinomiyas. There is a line in episode 4 that I don't think made it into the manga, where she likens herself when Beto is confronting Battler at the very end of episode 4, when she is, you know, interrogating him, what is your sin? She likens herself to furniture for the Ushinomiya family. That she is not just their alchemist, but their furniture.
Right. So, a series of weird events happening to Jessica, and Jessica's trying to like explain it and talking through it with Will, and they're just like, listen, I thought maybe it was like a prank that the servants all did on me, but it'd be very fucking convoluted of a plan to fuck with me if that's what they were doing. So I don't really know what the fuck was going on with that. I try not to think about it anymore, because if I do, I get terrified of the fact that it happened, because it's either terrifying because there's a fucking witch in my house, or it's terrifying because several of the servants will conspire to fuck with me. So either way, I would rather not think about it.
I'd kind of rather the first one, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, the servants that are supposed to serve you and, you know, live with you are teaming up to do that elaborate prank.
Yeah.
I mean, can you blame them? They barely get to do stuff like this ever.
Pranking the rich heir daughter at 2 a.m. gone wrong.
The best TikTok challenges.
So, okay. So that whole instance happened. I'm sure the doll is probably some kind of tie-in to the Beatrice story that we're probably going to get later on more clearly what that is about. But now we head back to Burncastle Shaw and be like, so do you know now? Do you know who the culprit is? Do you know what's the deal with everything? And I think that's where he gets into like explaining like what it means to kill Beatrice is like a whole thing too. Cause it's like, one, we don't have a body here. So we have to talk about like, does that mean Beatrice was killed physically, or was Beatrice killed as a concept, or what does it mean? And that's where we get into the whole discussion about like, you know, Lion is from one version of the events. The culprits that we know in the story of that Beatrice is a different version of the events, depending on whether or not Nazi throws the baby off the cliff or not. I try not to say yeet because I was like, I don't know, you know, it's a serious thing, and you still laugh. You still laugh.
Raise them. Why do you have to say she chucks them off the cliff?
It's a very integral reason to why she does not raise the child, I think. I don't know. Like, it's not like she was like, you know, father, I would not like to raise this child. It's, I'm gonna throw this child off the fucking cliff. I'm not raising this boy.
This whole fucking family is so mentally ill, dude.
That's one great thing about episode 7 is like that's where it really hones in. No, we're really gonna tell you how mentally ill this family is, and it's gonna get worse. Don't worry.
And so here we get into. I'm like, okay, we're finally gonna reveal the culprits. We're finally going to explain who Beatrice is. And it's like the culprit is this person. You see like the back outline of this person. And then they're like, all right, here's 2 more chapters. All right, we're going back in time. You're not going to see this character's face for several. And I'm like, you motherfucker. You motherfucker. You guys actually just said. I was like, okay, they're all ready to reveal. Because in my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, the reveal is going to be that Shannon / Canon is actually also Beatrice. And that they're going to show it's this person. We've called in Shannon into the room. And or Canon or something like that. But now we're just like, okay, how about we do like a stage play with Zepar and Furfur to explain who the culprit is instead. And I'm like,
this
you
is so Zepar and
motherfuckers.
Furfur coded.
I'm like, this is Ryukishi. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
Did you really think he would give you that simple an answer?
I'm like, bro.
Every single time that I think that we're close, I have to remind myself of that picture that I found off of Reddit of like how much longer in terms of physical manga we still have to the end.
Wait, where's that photo again? I'll show it on stream. It's in the regular chat, right? Let me find it. All right, I see it.
So.
This is.
I might have outlined. Yeah, that's the edited version.
This is the photo for scale of how long the Umineko manga is. Okay, this is the omnibus version, which we are reading through the omnibus edition.
So
at the pace of the omnibus edition.
Between now and Thanksgiving, we're going to get through like a 1/5 of the series.
So, and there's like a singular copy of Demon Slayer next to it for scale. For scale, of course, for scale. And we are like, how do we get into? Let me look at the schedule here to see, because we have. Oh God, the image is above the other one.
So the one outlined in green is the one that we just finished.
Because we have like 6 volumes or 5 volumes left to read after we're done reading, discussing this volume. There's still 5 other omnibus volumes for us to read. So the top 5 at the top. That's what we, or is it bottom 5? Whatever. 5 of them we still have to read. So. These are chonky boys. Chonky. Yeah. So that's.
So I'm like, oh, they're gonna reveal the culprit, and then I that image flashes across my vision, and I'm like, oh no.
I feel like at this point, personally, because like, okay, the backstory. So Zepar and Furfur are doing the whole stage play thing, right? And they're trying to tell the story of what happened to that child after Genji hid them away, trained them into the orphanage. So we don't really see the person's face, but they're referred to as Yasu. They're presented as a very small, or at least they feel small, is how I was taking it, compared to the other servants there. But they also do comment about how they are very young, and they don't understand why this person's there, and why they get to go to school with Jessica. What the fuck's up with that? They're a little confused about that. They seem like they treat Yasu badly because of that, and it seems like they have like a friend in Shannon, but I'm also looking at that immediately like Shannon's the same age as we've seen before. They don't look any younger at all. So I'm like, okay, so this is Shannon. This is like an imaginary friend that they are befriending who's like just Shannon or something like that. I don't know what it is, but
this is Shannon, the perfect servant that we know of. The Shannon that does everything perfectly and everyone looks up to her.
Yeah, of course.
Well, none of the other servants have mentioned her by name, have
She's
they?
not clumsy at all.
Yep,
this
yep.
is Shannon.
Yep. So I'm just like,
Once you have a Joker woman goof up.
yeah, because
That's my
Yasu's like, oh, Yasu forgot this thing. Go find it. And I'm just like thinking to myself, like, oh, Yasu absolutely did not forget that thing. They are just telling her she forgot that thing, and then she's going to go search for the thing and never fucking find it. Probably they're just like bullying this character.
As you do.
And I'm just like, okay, so they're cleaning up the chapel, and all that, and again, they don't use the chapel. The family, I don't think, right? They just like
they don't.
They keep it cleaned because Kinzo likes it and had it built, but they don't use it at all. And that's the one that also has the weird message at the top. I forget it. Yeah, well, no, that it was just like saying there's a probability, the probability of this door opening, and it was like a big fancy number that I don't remember what it said.
Let me bring that.
Was it like
up
trillion, billion, quadrillion, something like that?
Quadrillion.
Okay.
But there is a specific phrase etched on it.
Because that was the whole.
This door is opened only at a probability of a quadrillion to 1. You will be blessed only at a probability of a quadrillion to 1.
And this was specifically important because it was also in the episode where several of the adults were in there at like the Thanksgiving dinner with like their organs out and everything like that.
With the little bombs.
With the little bombs.
Halloween.
Well, listen, it looks like it was a Thanksgiving dinner thing at the table, but then the message was like Happy Halloween or something like that, right? Or something like that.
The was very explosive.
Yes. So the chapel was built at the same time as the other mansions, and it's basically been unused since then, but it's been maintained, just unused.
Well, it's a little sus. Everything, all these new things being built, a little sus. But anyways, that was a
old men can have hobbies, chap.
I don't think we want to know any more of Kinzo's.
You don't want to know
hobbies.
his hobbies. First of all, you don't want to know his hobbies.
I don't want to know any more of them.
Hey, the sex dungeon is starting to sound a little more reasonable.
Second of all, I don't even think
enough of Kinzo's hobbies.
Kinzo better not walk in that chapel, okay? He's gonna start burning if he enters that chapel. I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly. He can't.
This room protects my sex from God.
It'll open at a, what was that, quadrillion % chance for him. Right now it's not opening. Yeah. But it was important for that case because it was like battlers trying to figure out how it could have been open to do the crime and things like that and all that. And it was supposed to be like, it can't be open unless this is this percentage. Like, yeah. So anyways.
Because it was a locked room.
Yeah.
And Maria had the key.
So the green-haired woman that I had mentioned earlier in the stream, that's supposed to be the character reading this stuff, but that's not supposed to be Yasu. That's just the person reading the story, right?
That is a personification of Yasu.
Okay, all right, but
That's not what Yasu looks like, but that
Right.
is just her kind of.
That's like the meta world version of who she's supposed to be, I'm assuming, and she's reading the book about the person. I don't know, but anyways, we're not supposed to assume that the person that we see is Yasu. We're just supposed to assume that she's reading about Yasu to explain us her perspective of the events.
Yes, the green-haired woman is named Claire Volks.
Are we supposed to know that yet, or do we know that?
Bernardus?
Are we supposed to know that yet, or? Did they
Yeah, I think
mention
it's
that?
in the next chapter.
Okay.
Her name's Claire.
Okay.
But
So
that way you just know that you have a different name for her than Yasu.
Sure. So they're all watching the stage play. Specifically, we keep seeing that this is in fact a stage play because it keeps cutting back to Will, Burncastle, and Lion all sitting together in like a theater box. I think Burncastle's watching it with like binoculars or whatever, like just watching the play happen. And it's just Zephyr and Furfur just talking on the stage. And what was it? They do the presentation. Everybody's talking about the history of like the maids growing up, and Shannon, I'm pretty sure, is just this person. My assumption with all this is that, especially because we have Zepar and Furfur doing this presentation, I'm like, okay, so this is Shannon and Canon, who are like Yasu, and I don't know why specifically Yasu also gets to go to school with Jessica, I guess, but it does explain though.
Genji.
But it does explain though why Shannon and Canon have the one-winged eagle on their outfits. Maybe they don't physically have it on their outfits in reality, but to us it's shown like they do have the one-winged eagle as a hint that they are Kinzo's children. Genji though, I don't know if he's supposed to be related to Kinzo or if that one's just because like old friend, first servant type deal.
Genji.
It's Genji. It's the Genji exception, I'm assuming. Because I just keep thinking back to how hard Natsuhi wanted the one-winged eagle and then she never got it. But also I keep having to remind myself that that whole discussion between her and Kinzo never actually happened. So I have to keep reminding myself that. Kinzo might have fucking hated Natsuhi for all I know. But yeah, so Genji has the one-winged eagle, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Genji's related to Kinzo. But in Canon and Shannon's case, there's no fucking reason they would have that unless they are related. So that is what makes more sense to me. So this Yasu character, especially given the fact that, again, Shannon does not look any younger. And the Beatrice we know has been confirmed to be around like 19 years old now, right? She's supposed to be like 19 or 20 or something.
19.
Yeah, so she's supposed to be 19 years old. And this Yasu character is presented to us like she's very tiny, very young. So we still got like several more years before she grows up to be the culprit / Beatrice. So I'm like, okay, so this is probably Shannon/Canon. That's my current theories on this. So, and it seems like we're very heavily leaning towards that. And then how did we wrap up this time? I think it was pretty much just that. We were still just getting closer and closer to revealing who Yasu is, and then we just weren't doing it yet. We're just not doing it more and more. When are we gonna know? Are we gonna know before Umineko ends?
The ending channel, if I remember correctly, was Yasu being laughed at, supposedly, by the Golden Witch that was like hiding her all the stuff that she kept losing.
Yeah. But like, yeah, so we're in trying to think of what other comments I wanted to talk about, but yeah, it was at that moment where she's in the chapel crying or like trying to like get everything ready because she's trying to do her best. Okay, well, I keep saying she. I keep saying she, but I don't even think it's been established what gender Yasu is supposed to be yet. But she's presented like a maid, I think. So I don't know, but
yes. So we could consider Yasu to be female at this point.
Okay, so. They're cleaning the chapel or trying to find something that they supposedly left in the chapel because they were told that they forgot something, which they probably didn't. And they're crying in there, and then that's when they hear Beatrice's laughter, and it seems like they're about to appear before Yasu, which is probably going to be representative of them becoming Beatrice, or like having an imaginary friend who is Beatrice in their mind and then becoming Beatrice, or listening to I don't know. There's a lot of things that could happen there. Oh God, Toy Story. Oh my God. So that's where we wrap up with episode 7 of that. What are some of our thoughts related to Yasu? What are our thoughts? Do you have any thoughts? Any thoughts?
I don't have thoughts ever.
Ever?
No.
Do you have opinions?
After this, we do need to go back to something, but go on with your thoughts, Andy.
I just said I don't have any.
I know you said that, but I know you have thoughts.
Start thinking.
To be quite frank, I don't. I'm currently taking note of who in my mobile game club has made our minimum score requirements for this event.
What the fuck?
Be present! Be present! Tell me, what did you think about the gender in these volumes?
It annoyed me.
What? What does that
I guess,
Gender
the
annoyed
only-
you. Just get rid of it, to be honest. Just get rid of it.
Presence of the gender.
Just get rid of it. Just, be like Lion.
The only thing that I really thought about it was that, number one, I think Lion is a girl. Why? But because she looks like Saber, and Saber is a girl. Do I need any more reasoning than that?
Sure.
So now I'm going to go back to Leon's
Hey, hold on,
gender.
I didn't say anything yet, Ari. Goddamn.
Okay, go on, Shadow. Then we'll talk about.
I can't believe you, Ari.
Perhaps, say your thing, Shadow, and then I have a thing to read. Okay, we have Ryukushi's. We have Ryukushi's
I wasn't
volume
even
thing
able to
read.
answer the question.
You didn't want to answer the question. You didn't want to answer
I
it.
had a response.
Jesus Christ! Answer the question then.
I was gonna say that the only thought that I had about the gender in this chapter was akin to my weird dollhouse thing, where it's like, unlike Chap, who has these fully fledged theories that are turning out to be true, I have these weird motifs that I keep thinking of that keep cropping up.
I mean, there are a lot of motifs that reoccur in Umineko, yeah.
Like Battler not
just said,
eating.
yeah, there are motifs.
I mean, I did just kind of say that, yeah. I meant to be encouraging, but I guess that is what I said.
I was like, wow, guys, we're reading a book. There are going to be motifs in it.
Yes, there are themes in this.
Very well deduced. Yes.
I'm sorry.
William wouldn't have figured that one out.
But like, that's the only thing that I really thought of it. That, and I think Leona's a girl, as I said.
Shadow, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so you guys mentioned these last theories got up earlier. I'll mention mine later, but when it comes to Yasu, honestly, it just seems like a skill issue to me. That's it.
True.
What's the skill issue?
Yasu just fucking up
being-
everything. Yeah.
Only being Kenzo's child is a skill issue.
Again, here's the thing with my thing with Yasu and like how Yasu's treated. I can't tell if they're actually fucking things up or if the other maids are just like saying that she's fucking things up and she's not. I can't tell. I can't tell what's happening with that. I can't tell if Yasu's actually screwing things up because she's a child or if they're not screwing things up, but the maids are just bullying her. I can't tell.
It's a skill issue, and Beatrice is just cope. That's it. It's as easy as it got.
Pretty much.
Okay. Let me read. This was like halfway or a third of the way through one of the afterwards from Ryukushi, because I think there was only one afterward from Ryukushi. About Umineko When They Cry, Episode 7, Requiem of the Golden Witch, Ryukushi 07, creator and supervisor. Hello, I am Ryukushi 07. First of all, thank you for picking up the first volume of Episode 7 of the manga adaptation of Umineko When They Cry. My deep thanks go out to Mizuno-sensei and everyone else involved in putting out this book. In Episode 7, we begin to see the answers to a number of mysteries come to light. When originally writing the material, I remember undergoing quite a bit of strain, checking for logic errors and debating how much of the answer to reveal. Laughs. But enough about my side of things. I just hope that you are able to enjoy Episode 7 in this different form from the original visual novel. Also, we've got a number of new characters to watch. Going into it, I had only a few concerns. Will had to be cool. Lion had to be androgynous, and Claire had to be ... Whoops, I better hold back on that for now. Claire was not even shown yet at this point, that's why. He's like, whoops, I better hold back on that for now, laughs. I can't wait to see how Mizuno-sensei draws Will and the others going about their duties. So here was my thing regarding Lion and their gender. I was immediately like, they are two moe standing next to Will. So I'm like, this is... If they're trying to go for androgynous, it doesn't work when you have them standing next to Will the whole time. Like a giant mountain of a man next to Lion, who already has has it hard by having like the long hair, right? But then it's also just tiny person next to giant massive dude. So it's like, okay, well,
it's huge.
I think the other thing that keeps fucking me up is that Lion is supposed to be a particular fragment's depiction of Beatrice, or
Yeah.
is Beatrice in a particular fragment. Beatrice has been female presenting throughout the entire series up until this point. So I think I'm reasonable in saying, hey, most, if not all, incarnations of Beatrice would be female.
But the important distinction is probably the fact that, like, canon is also involved with whatever the identity is, which is why we are being presented with them with the idea that they're supposed to be androgynous. It's not really working with the art style for the character design, like, but we understand the idea is supposed to be that they're supposed to be viewed as androgynous, and it's supposed to be the hint towards, like,
so then where's all
canon
my
and
fun
Shannon.
canon art?
Oh, there's a ton. Don't worry.
Well, if we go with the assumption they're the same person, is canon supposed to be Shannon, or am I not
No,
understanding this? Or?
No, because Shannon has the big boobs, so Canon would be the flat-chested one.
Oh, okay, okay, all right. What would male Shannon be then? What would be the distinct difference there?
Male Shannon would look like Will. Would be like super tall and super cool and stuff like that.
How do we
Being
get
like
A to B
small and
going
curvy and moe, you know.
How do we get?
Never forget the heart. I understand. I understand.
Or Mask Shannon looks like Kinzo. And I say Kinzo because Kinzo and Kraus. Hold on. Kinzo and Kraus both have really broad shoulders, and I think that that's what Mask Shannon would have, is broad shoulders. Will is a little too much of a twink. But like, as we all know,
Are Moe or any of this in the end? Go on.
As we all know,
Hey.
fucking world-renowned boxer Kraus over here. That's
Wait.
what Mask Shannon would look like.
Wait, hold on. I do want to also say, because I'm going to show on screen right now the sprites of Lion and Will from the VN, the original sprites. I'm just going to say, Will's not looking good. Will's not looking good here.
Will
How dare you?
In the old sprites, Will's not looking good. I don't know what was cooking. I think it's the eyes. The eyes and the one red hair strand. Those are not. Those are like, this is my quirky OC. This is my quirky OC. He's got.
He said, "I gotta make this man cool."
He's got.
And that's what
Yeah,
he
it's
did.
very cool OC. This is my very cool OC. He's got very golden eyes. Very like cat-like
does
golden
Glenor.
eyes,
He's the
and then
head
like
Inquisitor.
he's
The head
got.
Inquisitors have gold eyes
he's-
because they're angels.
He's got very golden eyes and like a strand of red hair. The one very bright strand of red hair looks like it was stolen right out of Battler's spiky hair. Just plucked right onto Will.
He's got a cool long blue jacket and a V-neck shirt. He's cool.
I think it's mostly just the face that does like the eyes and the hair, and like it's not looking good there. And like the jacket's fine, but
Wow.
I'm not a fan of how he looks in the original VN sprites. I think I like him more with the what was it, the
PS3.
updated sprites. Like those ones look better. I'll show that one on stream next too. Lion, I like how they look. I like how they look in that. That one, that was pretty good. Here we go. Here's the updated, what was it, the PS3 sprites.
Yeah.
Will looks good here. Will looks fine here because now the red stripe thing is not as prominent. Okay, and the yellow eyes are not like,
You just don't like his coolness.
the yellow eyes make more sense here because they look
He's
like it's an
Battler,
actual
but
eye color.
cool.
These look like an actual like yellowish eye color going on here, whereas like this one's like the whole eye is just filling the whole thing yellow. Like I'm looking at yellow orbs for his eyes.
Hater.
Like,
Hater.
Looking into his deep yellow orbs.
I think we had the problem with one of the VNs that we were playing, Finding Cinderella, where one of the girls just has like golden orbs for eyes, and it looks like she's like the Oracle who knows everything or something like that. Like,
Hater.
listen, what can I say? Okay, listen, Ryukishi was cooking in some ways with the style and not cooking in other ways with the style. I'm just saying.
Wow.
Which reminds me, we mentioned this in the Discord a little bit. There would be a funny bit in the future, potentially, where we had all of our avatars done in the Ryukishi 07 art style of Umineko, and then we used those for like a couple other remaining streams. That'd be a funny bit. But we're getting close to wrapping up the series, so I don't know if that'll get done. But that was an idea we floated around for those of you
Like a
listening to the
month
stream.
First time.
Yeah, but anyways, what other thoughts, discussions do we want to have related to our readings for this week? Because I think we pretty much covered most of the core events that happened, but what do you want to say, Shadow?
Okay, I'll go last because I got a whole thing. I want to let everyone else go first. Did I drag this out too much?
Does anybody else have something they want to bring up first, or should we just jump to Shadow? Or
We
just
never
jump to
went back to Leon.
what about Leon?
right.
What do you want to get back to with Leon?
What about Saber?
What specifically did you want to get back to?
The important thing that Will brings up is like when he brings up Leon's gender specifically of like what just shaking them by the shoulders. What are your pronouns? Because he realizes that in the first 4 games, Beto is a woman. The person who becomes Beto is a woman. But in Lambda Delta's game, Lambda Delta is Beto's guardian. She is the one who she is the person who has helped Beto gain power, basically.
Okay.
We learned that very early on. But in Lambda Delta's game, episode 5, we learn that the child that Natsuhi abandoned was male.
Oh, that's true.
That child was specifically born male, and Lambda Delta's game made that very explicit.
So then,
and that's why Will brings it up of like, what is going on with all of this?
I see.
He says in the 5th game you're supposed to be a boy, but in many other games you're thought of as a girl. In the 6th game, when Ushinomiya Battler was the master, 2 demons of different sexes appeared, but we didn't know which was which. In fact, strictly speaking, it started all the way back in the very first game. Your gender is one of the hidden mysteries that exist outside the games themselves.
All right, I understand. I understand everything now. I understand it.
Did that clarify things?
I
and then
understand
Leon
everything.
goes, I'm not telling you. I have a complex about my gender, so I'm not going to tell you. But if we look at Leon, we can kind of take some assumptions.
Okay, which artist version of Leon?
Any of them, because first off, the jacket. If we're talking about how the jacket is styled, in these older styles, it's actually depending on the way the buttons are buttoned up, I guess. That is gender specific. So Leon is currently wearing a masculine equestrian uniform, and there's a few other details that you could probably assume, but one that I don't see brought up a lot is that Leon, from birth, has been chosen by Kenzo.
As the head?
As the head. Kenzo, our feminist ally,
Naturally.
The guy who told Ava, you need to just be a good wife and learn to cook,
He loves women. He loves women.
But,
maybe a little too much.
I'm sure his love of Beethoven overrides of things.
Okay, so now I'm trying to piece it together with that information you said, because Lion's supposed to be from the fragment where Lion is accepted, in a way, like accepted to be raised by Natsuki.
Back to my trans Beto shit.
So so that's what I was gonna say. So I was gonna say very clearly, if they were presented as the baby that went off the cliff was male, but now we're being presented with a story about Yasu, who is supposed to be a woman or whatever, then it was probably Genji saved the child, they were male, and now they are identifying as female as they grow up. Probably to hide, but I don't know. But I get confused when it comes to the lion side of things. The lion side of things, that would mean that they got to be or stay as male without disguising, if that is the case.
See,
but then
I'm thinking the other way around. I'm thinking that the
Leon does not have a confirmed gender. They never give their gender, so
No, that's
people
fine.
just
That's
refer
fine.
to
I know it's
them
not confirmed.
as they.
I'm just trying to think of it in my head where if it was the case that the baby that went off the cliff was male, right? But in Lion's case, they didn't fall off the cliff, then that would imply that Lion would be male. But you had mentioned that they're wearing a female outfit. Is that what you
Male.
said?
No, male.
Oh, so they're wearing a
It's
male.
male
Oh, never mind that. Never mind that. I just misunderstood what
No,
you were trying
see,
to explain with that. Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like, oh, like in my head, the baby is biological female. And by being accepted into the family, they were able to come to the terms with the fact that they were trans male. But I don't know. What was Shadow gonna say?
Okay, it's my turn. Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Someone else want to say something?
No, go on.
No.
Go on. Go.
Okay.
Speak.
Okay. I gotta mention Kenzo's fucking shit with Beatrice. It's very dumb and silly.
What's that?
Like like the pasta here, wonderful. Also, Beatrice is like, hey, kidnap me, Kenzo, come on.
Yeah, they're flirting when they were what the
During the
fuck else
military
was
shit happening and everybody
Yeah.
dying.
There's Beatrice saying like, I make the food with the same ingredients and everything, but every time it turns out burnt. That's not
Oh,
nice,
yeah.
Beatrice. That's a crime.
She's trying.
She's the alchemist. She's the
I'll give you
alchemist.
10 years in
She could
turn-
prison, at
I'm-
least.
Everything I touch
she-
dies.
She's the family alchemist. I could turn pasta into cinders. You know, it's you know. I thought it was a nice little callback. I thought it was nice. I would love that if that's where that part of her being the family alchemist like eventually evolved from. Everybody thinks she's the alchemist who gave the gold to Kinzo in exchange for like his soul or some shit.
Gotcha.
But in reality, it was just like, yeah, I kind of suck at making pasta.
There's Willard saying, so we flip over the chessboard battler style. Is that?
Yes.
I was like, no, that's Kyrie. What are you talking about?
No, Battler trained.
Battler
okay?
adopted it. He adopted it from
Yeah.
Kyrie after
He
Kyrie died in the
inherited
first
it.
game.
This is Kyrie erasure. How can you get?
Well,
No,
Kyrie
I'm not
was
gonna say that.
erased in the first game. She was killed, and that's why Battler started. I almost said Beatler. Battler started doing it.
That's
That's
the
a
young
weird
type
ship
stuff.
name.
Beatler.
No, Battler inherited the technique.
Wait. What is the Battler and Beatrice canon like ship name supposed to be?
Bebato.
Bebato. That sounds weird. I don't like it. Bebato.
Well, it's
Sounds like a
so-
Batman thing. What's going on?
So in old fandoms, you either had noun shippings where it's like just soul shipping or something, or you had name squishes, which is what we usually do nowadays. It's
I
just
see.
you take the first few letters of the person's names and push them together. Bebato.
I see.
Yeah, because the people would get the biggest thing is that people would get confused with like noun names. I'm not.
Because you run out like
You
and
run
then the fans-
out.
like the bigger the fandom, like the more nouns you have to go through, where it ends up being like 3 different nouns squished
The
together.
thing that stands out that makes me think of it is we have the same problems with acronyms nowadays, where there's like so many acronyms, and when somebody says that like particular acronym or that word, like there are so many things that it can mean. The one that I'm thinking of is, Chap, I'm so sorry to bring up Homestuck on your channel again, but the ship name for Carcat and John was communism because Carcat used a sickle and John used a hammer, so their ship sign would have been the sickle and the hammer, and I can't tell people like, hey, I ship communism, even within the fandom context, because old Homestuck fans people that aren't old Homestuck fans aren't gonna get that.
Damn.
That is very funny.
I didn't realize we were gonna get Homestuck fandom lore right here on the Wolfborg Anime Book Club podcast.
I mean,
you learn so
makes
much
sense,
here.
Okay.
You learn
we were
so
talking
much.
about the Nazis before at the beginning, and so
Yeah,
he
okay.
comes back.
Yeah, okay, but how do the Italians fit in on all of this? How do the Italians weigh in on Homestuck lore? What do they weigh in on?
They were with the
That is really
Germans.
Oh, so they probably did not. Okay, it's a whole thing. Anyways, I'm trying to think what this means for Battler and his sin at all. Because previously, I had thought about
Previously on Umineko.
because Battler.
Well, since he's trans, what are you talking about? We've been over this.
Swear we've been over this.
Previously, the idea was, or at least the idea in my head, was that Battler left for 6 years, and it seemed like he might have known Shannon or like some other servant or some other person from there before, maybe from Kumadorian, talked with them, and I think described his ideal woman, and it was just Beatrice. So this is a person you might have been talking to was probably Yasu, or Shannon/Canon, or all three, if that is how that's going. And how does that fit in with what his sin is? Is his sin that he forgot who that person was back then? Because reasons? Or like forgot a promise that he made to that person to come back next year and then he didn't for like 6 fucking years? What has caused the culprit to do all the killings on the island and the like? Because it doesn't seem like it's for money. Doesn't seem like they're, at least how they're presented to us. We know the island blew up, or had an explosion towards the end, but there's probably, you know, mysteries and killings along the way. But I don't know if the explosion was even connected to whatever killings or whatever were happening beforehand. It might have just happened as a result of somebody freaking the fuck out about it, maybe. But I'm trying to think, what the fuck did Battler do to upset somebody like this? Was it just like, oh, you promised to come back next year and then you didn't for 6 years, so I've decided I'm going to kill everybody. Now that you're finally here, everybody dies. And then you, maybe. I don't know what's going on with that. But when it comes to thinking about Yasu/Lion or whatever, I'm like, okay, it's probably the baby was male at first, thrown off the cliff. Genji hid them away. Obviously had to hide their appearance, probably, in case Kinzo saw them and was reminded of Beatrice. So they're probably disguised in a way. They already said that they've lied about how old they're supposed to be.
Yes.
That was a
you
big
can
thing.
You can also kind of assume or interpret that they probably still have some health complications from it,
Yep.
because it's a miracle that this child even survived. So you could say that even affected their appearance.
Yep. And so,
I mean, if they were a boy but they lost their dick in the incident, that could make them a girl, technically speaking.
yeah, but would it give them Shannon's giant tits? I don't know if that's how that works. I don't think.
That's fair.
So, I don't think falling
The
off a
magic
cliff.
of estrogen comes back again.
There's a lot of a lot of estrogen just comes out of falling off cliffs. Nobody knows about this trick. Nobody knows about it.
They don't tell you about them.
But maybe as a result of Genji saying you have to hide, we are going to dress you up this way. I'm going to like refer to you as like a woman or something like that. Like, I don't know if it's something like that to the level he's hiding this person, or if like this is like a female identity that Yasu has chosen to take on over the years. I don't know what exactly the deal is, but if we're led to believe that Yasu is presenting as female, at least at this point in the stage play where they're like working with the other maids and such, I don't know exactly what that means for like later on, because later on, when it comes to like, when I think back to episode 1, Battler knew Shannon prior, but he did not know Canon. He met Canon for the first time at that point. And that's where my kind of theories get all kind of confused. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that means. Because in my head originally, that told me that maybe if we were doing a gender thing, that would mean that they were presented as Shannon before, but now they are canon. But now it seems like it's the other way around, and now I don't know what the fuck is going on with that.
There's layers.
Don't think about it too hard, you'll get a headache.
Yeah, that's true. Don't think of it too hard. You'll get a headache.
It cannot be seen.
They're just all the genders. They're Shannon, Canon, Yasu, Beatrice, Kinzo. Fuck it. They're every Ushiromi. No.
They're all trying to be
Wait. It's the Punisher gift. No. Wait.
You got too far, Chep. You're full.
So many genders, no.
Okay.
Well, Kinzo's homophobic, so.
Well.
True.
He hates everything, but loves women. Don't worry. He loves women. We all know this.
Well, no respect to a woman.
Well, I said that he loves women. I never said he respects women. There's a difference.
He loves Italian women, at least. We know that.
But all Italian women.
Hates Japanese women. Let's be real.
He loves Italian women with lots of gold, okay? And honestly,
can't blame him for that.
Yeah, no, we were in agreement on this for once. 90.
Okay, I don't know how much we should be agreeing with Kinzo in general with his life views, but
look, he's got some riz. We got.
I don't know. I don't want to know what goes on with Kinzo in the VIP doll room. I don't want to know what goes on in there.
Moving on.
Things I thought of when I saw
By the way, there's like cookies with this fucking doll too. It's not like they just leave the doll alone. They're like giving offerings to the fucking doll. Good one. I agree.
And I'm not good at thinking.
Don't think too much. You'll give yourself a headache.
We're like 2.5 hours into this.
And we're about to wrap it up pretty soon, so yeah.
No, I've been more than
It's fine. Hold on. It's fine. Hold on. Hold your horses.
Like the whole thing was that Jessica was saying that it was looking like an offering situation of some kind. So then that makes me call into question, like, is the doll thing that Ari mentioned and I've been talking about like just a motif, or is there something actually going on with the doll? My assumption was that the doll probably belonged to Yasu or something, and it was, you know, they left it in there when they were playing or something and like had to go run and grab it while Jessica was in there or whatever, or something like that. But because the whole thing that was presented with that was the idea that there is some kind of worship going on with the doll, and I don't, for personal preference, I don't like the idea that that's just where that stops, because I'd be interested in seeing where that might come up again. But on the other hand, like, is it just a callback to when Virgilia was treating Bito as a doll or something? I don't know. I don't remember where I was going with that. I'm sorry.
I almost forgot to mention, too, because we kind of forgot to mention it because we were too busy talking about Lion's existence. Lion's mother, Lion's mother, the elder Beatrice, I guess is what you would call them, right?
Beatrice too.
Like not the so there's Italian Beatrice, Kumadorian Beatrice, and then the culprit Beatrice or Lion, whatever you want to call them. The Kumadorian.
Kua.
Okay, I'm not. You can't just drop like 3 different fucking ways to call her. I'm calling her this Beatrice. Okay, listen.
No, just like you say Kua.
That's Kuadorian.
I don't fucking care. Okay, listen. Let me talk about Beatrice. Okay, I'm just want to talk about how she fucking died. Okay, just had a child and then didn't die from childbirth. Right? This one didn't die from childbirth. This one just died from Rosa leading her to the rocks.
Yeah, this was the one that Rosa tricked into dying on the rocks.
Well, not on purpose. So
not on purpose.
Which also Genji like sorted that all out too. He like gets the call from Rosa. Doesn't
really the real MVP.
Rosa, because
she's not the culprit.
Rosa didn't like call anybody immediately. Rosa like was so terrified and shocked about what happened, about like the Beatrice just slipping and falling and like hitting her head, that Rosa just kind of went back to the house and just like cried in bed or something like that for a bit, and then like eventually decided to call Genji. I was like, so this woman might be dead over there, and then Genji's like, all right, I'll handle it, and then he goes out and yeah, so I don't remember what they said Genji did about that. I'm pretty sure he had to tell Kinzo. I'm pretty sure he had to tell Kinzo, but I don't remember what else happened with it, because I mean he can't get away with not telling Kinzo about that Beatrice dying, because obviously he would have tried to go back there and see her, but we also know that she definitely did die, because we've been told and read that she was deader than a doornail at that time. He
is informed. Yeah.
Yeah. So we know
but then,
that
like, the whole thing was that he had to hold on to it because they couldn't reveal that he had this weird daughter lover going on thing.
Yeah.
So like his madness with the occult was like caused by the fact that he knew about her death for years, ever since, you know, Rosa did it.
Yeah.
Inadvertently, but like didn't say anything.
Yeah. But I think the thing that he kept away was like he probably didn't mention that Rosa was involved with that, maybe. I don't remember if that was explicitly stated, but I would imagine Genji being Genji, he probably wouldn't have told Kinzo that Rosa was involved. That's my guess. I don't remember if that was said. You know, because
Go to Genji.
True. He's
So
the
let's
MVP.
be real, Rosa would have been disinherited.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
Yep. Or killed, or worse. But
Both maybe.
All of the above. She
so,
would have been tossed off the cliff next.
but yeah, this is also the woman who dies that like the guy who drives the boat and drops off supplies is told not to bother bringing certain supplies anymore because she died. And yeah, so all those kind of events. So this is where we kind of lock in those kind of facts regarding all the different Beatrices and timelines regarding them and all those kind of events. So we know as far as with the Beatrice stuff, we know as far as Yasu's placement and Yasu eventually becoming Beatrice or meeting Beatrice or something to that metaphorical effect. And next week is when the reading will be diving into more of that directly. I hope we actually get into us finally revealing who Yasu is supposed to represent and answers. You know, remember answers? All right, Shadow, did you have something you needed to mention too? I think you said you did.
Okay, well, first, one more thing though. I swear to God, if they introduce more characters in the episode, I'm gonna lose it. I know it.
We're gonna have to. We're gonna be talking about Claire at the very least. And then also, we're probably going to be talking about Yasu. Right now, we're being told Yasu's backstory, but not like Yasu as a person of how they like actually are. It's like all vague and like you're getting like the events of the characters that are doing things to Yasu, but not Yasu themselves. So we're probably going to learn about at least Claire in some way, but then more so Yasu. And
remember how much more we still have.
Yeah.
Episode 7 is an answers check, but it's also a final media literacy check.
Oh no. Andy's sweating right now. Oh no.
Why is only Andy sweating? Shouldn't I be sweating too?
Did you guys see that screenshot that I sent of like the under reading versus over reading? Like at what point does it go from having media literacy into over reading and imposing your own ideologies and beliefs onto the media?
You read fine into a lot of this. I mean, when it keeps being brought up, when things like when the detective turns to the screen and shakes a character by their shoulders and goes, "What are your pronouns?
Gender are you? What are you?"
Maybe you're not reading too deep into things.
Look, Andy, you're fine. Okay, I have been reading into it enough, honestly.
I just like never mind. That gets more into like literary philosophy, and we don't need to be getting into.
So Ari, ages ago, I think we had one of the episodes. I think it was when they were in like the tunnel or something like that.
That would be episode 4.
At some point, you mentioned a throwaway line somebody said.
Yes.
Has that been brought? Because I still don't remember what that throwaway line is. I haven't bothered to look for it. Has that been brought up yet? Can you talk about what that is yet, or is that still secret memes?
It's a line Virgilia says. It would
should we wait for that, or
it would be me at this point. It would be me giving you a direct answer to something that you are.
Oh, okay, all right, that's fine. When we do get to the point where we have that answer, you can just let us know that was what the throwaway line was referring to or whatever. But don't bother until we get to that point then. So okay. I was just curious because I wanted to check in on that one because I haven't bothered to go back and check, but.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's like, as a throwaway line, you're just like, okay. But if you actually point it out, it's like, oh.
Obviously,
okay.
It was about the Kraus boxing It was about the Kraus punch.
It was about
That's all.
moon tourism.
His
but
boxing history is the key to all of this.
the sin was that Virgilia invested in his moon tourism.
I
and-
understand. I understand everything now. Kraus's master plan to get the money back was to enter the world of boxing and fix a few matches. And he just needs the
few.
matches settled up. He just needs the matches set up. So that's obviously the key to everything. So really, he just keeps trying to box people, and then they just keep dying because he's just that good. That's what keeps
so
happening.
good.
All right. So, Shadow, do you have anything else you said you wanted to bring up, or?
All right, I have one thing. You guys mentioned a bunch of like all those theories that you brought up ages ago.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I am myself, which is inadequate, so I don't have one. But
What?
fuck, how was it going with this shit? Hold on.
I don't know. A theory? Do you have a theory, perhaps, or?
Okay, so so before I get into it, I need to explain the circumstances that led to this. Okay, so someone proposed this earlier. Unfortunately, he's not here with us currently, so I shall, much like Willard, while Valor isn't here, shall propose this instead of him.
Love that.
Okay, and if remember, like I think a month ago, like right before the break, Torrendo mentioned something.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be mermaids?
No.
No, that was me.
I think that was all of you at one point.
It was originally Justin during the summertime rendering reading, but Justin's not
Summertime
involved in
rendering.
Umineko, okay? So
So we can put it on Justin. Anyway, go on, Shadow. What was Turandor saying?
Okay, so they mentioned Beatrice, like from Dante's Inferno, and then they mentioned this one, that Beatrice
did.
from Dante's Inferno.
they
He
did.
knew the whole time, and then Beatrice
That's
got
true.
banned like a week later. He knew the whole time and placed All for Fools.
True.
Okay, that's what I was confused by because you said me, you said Andy, and not Turando, and I was like,
Oh.
when did I ever compare Beatrice to Beatrice from
I
Dante's
said that
Inferno?
because in order, fuck, god damn it, shit, hold on.
Okay, I'm holding on. I'm holding on.
Okay, is it okay if I be mean again?
Yeah.
You may be mean.
Yeah, you can,
Yes.
you can be mean, I guess.
Okay, to play someone for a fool implies they're not already a fool to begin with.
Wait, I don't understand. what the
I'm
joke
saying
is.
that a 9 is usually a dumbass.
Damn. Is this true? Is this true?
Dang.
Chad, is this true? Chad?
Ari was just telling me that I was doing a good job.
And I need to shoot you guys down before you get any idea.
Damn. Wow. So, okay. So we've all been played for fools by Turando. Turando solved the whole thing.
Randy.
Turns into the whole thing from the start.
Turando.
And then he proved it by banning Beatrice and Yu-Gi-Oh! A week later, okay?
Turando did all that? Damn, that was impressive. I didn't know he had that power. It was all Turando?
Yeah.
The last time I remember him being here for Umineko thing, he said, so telephones weren't invented until this date. He was like going to that level of it.
Which was I loved that.
It was so good. And they brought like the accounting numbers and like taxes when that was wonderful.
I still remember the whole like Jessica, and this was from a couple of weeks back, the like Jessica Kyrie like math in the middle of the fight, calculating jealousy power levels. Like,
Oh my god.
what the fuck is all this?
Oh, I remember you mentioning specifically in the chat. This is the future that Shadow wants.
Yes, because your accountant's
I need
numbers.
to make something very, very apparent to you. I hate
Okay.
math.
Well, you've chosen the very wrong profession to be in. You've chosen the very wrong profession to be in if you hate math.
I'm good at it, but I hate
Like
it.
I can say I hate math despite being a computer science major because I can also do computer science stuff that does not involve math. But you cannot
We can
do
make
that
the
as an accountant.
computers do the math for us.
True, but you cannot do that as an accountant. So good luck.
No. It's the one thing I'm genuinely good at, but I hate every second of it.
Based.
Welcome to
Welcome
needing
to
a
the
job
real
in
world.
2023. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, actually, speaking of doing things they hate, Battler, born to be a villain, forced to be the protagonist.
Damn. I think
Could
Battler
he,
would.
though?
I don't think
He's-
Battler would have been a good villain at all. Sounds like,
No,
sounds like he was
Battler
shit
would've
at
been
it.
a Batman villain.
He keeps trying to, though. It's the problem.
His villain arc is like, I'll be the culprit this time by having nobody die. Ha 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 ha. It's like, okay, Battler, okay.
Before. You can't forget that one too.
He's like, his form of like being a villain is like being like a YouTube prankster. Like, what is this? Like, he's like, we're gonna totally prank Erica. We're gonna make her think that everybody in the family's dead, and she has to solve the mystery. What do you mean she just murdered all of my family again? Oh no, this prank has gone wrong.
Battler prank gone wrong.
Prank the detective at 2 a.m. gone wrong.
Turns out the detective was a psychopath. Oh no. All right, well, the main thing we learned this week, of course, was to never forget the heart. We all learned this.
True.
But just don't have Will's look on your face from the manga when you say it though, because then you kind of remove the.
Yeah,
the
And don't look like Beatrice.
Damn, that's fucked up and evil. All right, do we have any last thoughts, concerns, questions, theories we want to bring up before we wrap up for this week? All right, amazing.
I'm sorry, Andy.
I've just been spamming pictures of the.
And if you want to see those images that are being spammed in the Discord chat that you cannot see on these VODs, you could go to discord.wolfborg.com. You can join the Discord. You can grab yourself the anime book club role if you want to see like alerts for some of these things. But we have several book club channels, the main book club and the spoiler channel, where we just post images, theories, memes, whatever the hell. The one meme that I made a meme this week from the reading. And it was a panel where Jessica was talking with, what's her name? Kumasawa, where they were talking about like Beatrice is a legend. And she was like, Kumasawa was like, no, much like, because Jessica's like, it's just like Santa Claus or whatever. And Kumasawa was like, no, just like Santa Claus and all that. Beatrice lives within the mansion, all these legends. And I edited it to say, Santa lives in the mansion. Because obviously I had to. This is Santa believers in the chat, okay? Santa was Beatrice all along. I've always known.
Was it Santa was Beatrice or Beatrice is Santa?
You'll have to find. You'll have to do reading next week to find out.
Also,
yep.
I did remember some. No, I can't piss that yet.
Okay, all right.
The other thing. Oh yeah, the meme. Let's see, where was it?
I'm ready to.
The social media graph.
Oh, can we finally see the rest of the social media graph now?
Yeah, guess what? It's just Will, Lion, and Claire.
On 4chan? Was that where they were? On 4chan?
No, they're on Discord.
Oh.
Did again.
See here though, there's the counter argument. Kenzo be wherever Beatrice is though.
Kenzo what?
Kenzo would be on whatever social media Beatrice is on.
That's true. That's true. He would only follow Beatrice on it too. Like all of her posts, retweet all of her posts, replied all of them. Tier 3 subbed if she's on Twitch.
Yeah.
First, I think it's inaccurate.
There we go. Congrats, we've made it.
Okay, I'm gonna show it on the stream right now. Hold on 1 second, gamers.
The original one didn't have Claire, but I just threw her in.
Fair. It was like, wait.
All right, so here's what the graph says. We'll go through it again for those of you who were not here the first time we went through it. On Facebook, we have Hideyoshi, Nanjo, Kumasawa, Virgilia. On Reddit, we got. By the way, is Facebook being at the top supposed to imply that this is the best social media? What was that implication there? Anyways, Reddit, we have Kraus, Rudolph, and Featherine.
See, that also implies that Reddit's the second best.
On YouTube, we have, of course, Maria and Sakataro. But we also have Goda doing some like cooking shows or mukbangs. I don't know. But Goda's just hanging out on there. On 4chan, we got Erika, Burncastle, Kyrie, and
Kyrie's sister.
Kyrie's evil torture sister. Okay.
Yeah.
On Tumblr, we got Anje, Cannon, and Shannon. All on Tumblr together. Obviously, Cannon and Shannon are on the same social media platform because they're the same person. We all know this. Then on Twitter, we have Beatrice, Vatler, Ava,
Imagine their beef.
and Beatrice. Oh my God, Battler would just be like having a great time with my family, and then Beatrice would be like, "Can't wait."
Kill yourself. Kill yourself. Kill yourself.
Like I'm telling you, wait for the Battler and Beatrice podcast.
On Instagram, we have George. Is this supposed to be Jessica?
Yeah, that's Jessica.
Okay, I didn't recognize her for a second. George, Jessica, and Gap over on Instagram. And then on Discord, we now have Lion, Will, and Claire, the new members of the crew. Claire was obviously added in manually. You could tell by the fact that her size is
Doesn't
not
fit in,
matching
you're
up
right.
here.
I'm sorry.
Also, the
okay?
background is a different color.
Oh,
I'm
Watch
sorry.
ratio.
Okay. I
What
wanted
is-
her to be there with them.
Okay, that's
no,
fair.
sorry,
that's
it's our
fine,
turn
that's
to bully
fine.
you now, Ari.
On Twitch, we have Kinzo. Kinzo? Kinzo and Rosa. Over
I'm
on
sorry,
Twitch.
It would be on Twitter.
Kinzo would be like, his whole streams would just be like a little Beatrice VTuber thing, or like just him trying to like doing Beatrice coverage the whole stream. It's just like him being like, this is Beatrice news. This is what she's up to right now. I'm going to do some
Beatrice
react
news.
videos to like some new
Chat.
Beatrice content.
Sub so that I can revive.
Come on, guys. We have to
Give
commission.
us tier 3 subs.
Please go to the throne and help us fund a commissioned portrait of Beatrice. Real quick, chat. Come on. And then Rosa. What would Rosa be doing on Twitch?
Don't worry about it.
Obviously, they're the ones who get caught on Twitch abusing their child and then they get banned.
I was
That's what
gonna say
happens
she'd be
there.
the person that's like calling those helpline like channels or whatever. That's like, hey, I'm doing this to my kid, and she gets like totally reamed by the Twitch chat. And when that doesn't work out, she goes to the next one and just keeps doing it over and over again,
Oh my
looking for
God.
validation that she's not gonna get from strangers on the internet.
Oh my God. Then on TikTok, we have Lambda Delta and Ronove.
Run away, man after my heart.
Natsuhi doesn't log on. Doesn't log on at all.
Based, honestly, that's the best option. All these. Why isn't that one on the top?
And then I cannot use social media. I am a kid, and it's Delanor. Ignoring the fact that Maria is on YouTube. She's an iPad baby.
I think that I will argue that Maria and Sakataro are more likely to end up on like weird YouTube kids brain rot. Delanor, although a kid, is too intelligent for that.
Their babysitter is the iPad, 100%. Maria and Sakataro's babysitter is the iPad, okay? Because Rosa ain't doing it.
Sakataro ends up on that. Maria seeks it out.
True.
She knows the algorithm. She makes a beeline for those kind of videos.
She knows a little too well.
All right, so that is the social media chart completed, which obviously implies there will be no more new characters, right? Right.
Ari,
Right.
I swear to God.
It's okay. We got plenty
There's
more
like
manga to
40
go.
characters now.
Plenty more manga to go. We gotta find out where Yasu would go. You know, we gotta find that out.
Wait, where's everyone go?
Technically, there's no more new character.
Ari.
We'll find out about that.
Technically.
Okay,
Oh,
but
look
where
at
would this?
that one
Okay,
too.
but very important. There are some characters missing from the social media chart. Well, the Seven
where's
Sisters
that?
of Purgatory. Where are they going? Where are they
Okay,
on?
so let's decide, where would they go?
So are we judging for each individual one, or are we judging for them as a
Sure.
whole? Because I don't fucking know half of the girls in that crew.
Asmodeus and Beelzebub would definitely be TikTok. Lust and Gluttony.
I'm gonna trust you on that one because I don't remember a lot. I remember Envy. Envy is like the one who had the most development because she was
That's
just
Leviathan.
utilized several times. She's the only one I remember, and then I think one of them was just being ridiculed by everybody. From the sisters
That's
for like,
Lucifer.
yeah, she was just being
Right.
ridiculed by them all. Those are the only two I remember having like a significant role. Everybody else that had like a couple one-liner like quirky personality thing, and then we didn't really see again. I don't think. We also have the was it the Bunny Girl Inquisitors or whatever they were, the Chester sisters.
Chester sisters.
I don't know where they would go. I don't know enough about. They're just like calculating like fucking snipers or whatever at Reddit. They'd be on Reddit. There you go.
Yeah, Redditors. You also forgetting someone else. Keep going.
Are we missing anybody else?
Come on.
We already did Sakatara.
Jeff.
Sakatara's already on there.
Jeff, keep going. Come on. Someone else is missing.
Who
Two
else
people,
is missing?
actually.
Just say it.
2 people. Come on. It's
Just
fun.
say
It's
it.
obvious.
Just say it.
Nah, sorry.
I'm telling you to just say it, Shadow.
I don't remember their names.
Shadow, do you just not remember what their names are? Is that why you keep saying this? What is this?
No, I know their names. Don't worry.
Then say it.
Use your brain, Chef. Come on.
No, I am telling you to say it. We are about to wrap up the stream. If you do not say it now, it will not be said.
All right, won't be said then. Fuck you.
Okay. Do you think you're like winning something here? What do you want?
The 2 girls that are putting on the stage show. Frou and...
It's Zepar and Furfur. Why couldn't you just say Zepar and Furfur, Shadow? Why you gotta make this more difficult? Why you gotta do this to us?
Comedia.
This is not comedy, though. You're supposed to just say it. Okay. All right. So we'll teach you about comedy later. Don't worry. We'll teach you more about how comedy works later. But Zepar and Furfur, probably Tumblr, I think. I think they'd be on Tumblr, would they? That's what I think. My initial gut is Tumblr. Nobody else seems to have any input towards this, so I feel like I'm the only one rambling about where I would place them.
I want to go to bed.
Okay. Anything else? Oh, the bonus meme comics, not going to talk too long about them because there's not that many of them, but the main one was just Zepar, Furfur, and Lion talking about gender together. It was like, what was this? Given that you're just as ambiguous as us in that regard, we're birds of a feather. Perhaps you'll be able to sense the answer to the question of our genders. And it's like they're all very moe together and dancing and singing with it. But then, we never mentioned it all. I mean, I don't really know if it matters too much. Will's like spectator power?
Oh yeah, his theater goer.
Which is how he keeps like seeing all the past events happening when he
Chef,
holds
it
hands
was
with them or
fire
whatever.
punched all the time.
Pretty much, yeah. When he's touches one of the Ushiromiyas or whatever, he can see the things in their past that he's asking about or something like that, like what they're thinking about.
Power of the theater kid.
I was not understanding why we needed him to have this power as a concept. Is it just to tell us that they can't lie? I think that was it, right? It was like he is allowed to get the answers without it being obfuscated or something like that.
Yeah, it's just a fancy way of showing that this is your answers check. You can view what these characters are saying in these scenes as their truth.
Okay.
They are not going to try to obfuscate or hide information as they would normally.
Okay.
It's kind of just more of a reassurance to the reader that, this is what you're seeing in these parts when Will is using that power is what you can see as the truth.
Okay. And the last thing I wanted to bring up is the footnote for Van Dyne's 20 rules. This is the official footnote that they wrote in the official translation. Then after this, we can wrap this up. So, Van Dyne's 20 rules, similar in concept to Knox's 10 commandments of mystery writing. Don't worry, this is not going to list all of them again, so don't worry about that. S.S. Van Dyne wrote his own list of 20 rules for writing detective stories and published them in 1928. Van Dyne was a pseudonym for Willard Huntington Wright, a critic who used the nom de plume when he wrote detective novels. The 20 rules are too long and detailed to reproduce here, but they establish similar rules to Knox's 10 commandments, such as there must be a detective and a corpse, murder and solution methods must be rational/scientific, the culprit must be a principal character, the reader must be able to solve the case using the clues presented in the text, etc. That was how they described the Van Dyne's rules in comparison to the Knox's 10 commandments that we had in place there. My main question that I don't know about is, are we going to be locked in this chapel for the entirety of this episode, or are we going to go out to other parts of the mansion?
They can no longer piss.
True. That's the important thing. Oh, And
That's where you go to.
one other detail, I almost forgot to mention it. The gold. The gold is the reason why they have the one-winged eagle symbol. There was imprints on it, an Italian like military eagle symbol thing or flag of the Republic of something on there. It's supposed to be like a full-ass eagle like imprint on the gold, but it like faded away or something, or like half of it.
It
was like a misprint.
Half of the Italian Social Republic flag.
Yeah.
It's a eagle, and because it was wartime, the press didn't really. They didn't have the most high quality presses, so it just kind of half pressed on it. So Kenzo took that and got them re-stamped with that half an eagle. He knew what he most likely knew what the full image was supposed to look like, but to further obfuscate it so that just in case anyone else knew about it, they wouldn't know about it by changing it a bit and also taking it as his own mantle.
Yep. So he designed his own little family logo and had it stamped on everything. And now it's even included on all their fucking clothes. So
I think Shannon, I mean, obviously Shannon isn't real, as we've all established. She had it tattooed on her thigh, didn't she? Are we supposed to? Yeah. That's all.
Because
she had it tattooed on one thigh, and the Beta we see in episode 2 had it tattooed on a different thigh.
Yeah, because the assumption that tells me is just that, you know, Shannon is supposed to be a child of Kenzo in some way, related to, in blood ways, to Kenzo. Whether or not Kenzo knows it, I don't fucking know. Probably not. But she's supposed to have the symbol as part of her, but, like, not necessarily that. Because I was trying to think, like, why the fuck did Shannon and Cannon gotta wear the symbol? But it's probably, like, their outfits don't actually have the symbol on it. But we're just being shown like they do, and that's supposed to be like a big hint that they're related to the family. That's my assumption, but I don't know. Anyways, anything else that we have?
Nigel mentions about the engraving on the golden bars, and it's just like, you know, it couldn't be the eagle, or could it be the? Nah, yeah, it's impossible. There's no way it could be that.
Yeah, he said it was a two-headed something, and I'm assuming that was a joke that I just didn't get.
I just thought it was supposed to be like a reference to like a different war symbol thing, probably. I thought it might have been like a reference to like some kind of like, I don't know, German symbol thing. I don't know. I didn't know what that was supposed to be in reference to, but
if it was a reference to something, I wasn't getting it.
I had just assumed it was not like whatever he was trying to say. It was probably not important. It was probably a reference to like some other historical thing. If it was, it was not clarified in the footnotes, at least. So
yeah, sorry, I don't know.
Okay, well,
so it's probably not important.
Important.
Yeah, it's not important. Don't worry.
One time I find something weird.
Sorry.
like I said, it was probably a reference to another like World War II like symbol at the time, and you probably don't need to worry about it too much. He was just thinking it might have been related to that, but then we explained that it's related to the eagle thing. So okay. Anyways, let me just see what we had for any integral messages that we had in the chat at the time. Most of it was just MinMod in the YouTube channel. Let's see here. We had these ones at the beginning were before we started, I think. Don't neglect the heart is something I tell every Umineko newbie. Episode 7's artist isn't great, but the content is probably the most important in the whole story. Yeah, it is pretty important. Will does have a red streak in his hair, and I fucking hate it. Okay, they didn't say that. I'm saying that. I don't like it.
Wow, you are putting hateful words into other people's mouths.
It screams my OC. This is my edgy OC. He's very cool.
Yeah, what about it? What about it, huh?
Yeah,
are you jealous? Huh?
No,
that could be you. You could make your own edgy OC.
God, I hope not.
Cool.
God, I hope not.
I can give your sim a red streak in his hair. Chop sim is scared of thunderstorms, by the way.
My sim? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Listen, it happens. I am not scared of thunderstorms, for the record, okay? I just want this stated. Anyways.
Not until now.
What other chat message we got? I immediately thought of Sakataro with Lion. Vegeta Lion Vegetarian, LR English pun. I see Will as a non-incompetent variation of Battler, almost like fanfic OC. Lions.
That's always telling me it's true. You're not getting past the allegations, Ari. I don't tell you.
Lion's voice actor is Sabers. Yes, much to Ari's distress, we found that out last week.
My faves.
Ari almost had a Joker moment over that one. We understand. Japanese mythology was brought up with the island myths, and of course, incest is a big theme there. Chadler in all caps. I don't know what this is in reference to, but it was, Chadler.
Probably will, I think.
Yeah. What if Natsuki didn't eat the baby? This is in quotes when we were talking about that. Yeah. What if Natsuki didn't? Ryukushi never mentioned any DSM categories or stuff like autism, psychosis, DID, etc. So I don't think the labels can work as such. That might have been when we were talking about like Maria autism, or like Shannon or Cannon being like a DID situation, maybe. They only started to believe in her once they saw the VNCG in the hallway. And I summoned 50 giants and towers with big guns and stuff with titanium armor. I think that was referring to like the dollhouse kind of things. Yeah. I take Umineko to be a way for Ryukushi to talk about how he learned to channel that wild childhood imagination again when he decided to become a full-time writer. It's an interesting perspective. Jessica thought it was more comforting to believe in the witch than believe that her friends were tricking her. Yeah, that plus it would have been a large coordinated effort, and I would have been terrified personally. In the VN, Yasu's segment is entirely first-person POV, and the sprite is never shown.
Yep.
Then in all caps, never stop thinking. And then also, Saber is King Arthur, because we were talking about like Saber, and they're assuming that Lion is female because they look like Saber. Oh, it's King Arthur. I think I've been told from Fate, I don't know if this is true or if this is just them saying memes or whatever, that Saber implies that King Arthur can be pregnant? Is this what
Well,
like they said it in this... I don't know anything about Fate. I don't know what those memes refer to. I just remember hearing about that meme. Anyways. And then the last switch from them was a couple minutes ago. Smiley faces. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Do we have anything else to say? Comments, concerns before we wrap it up?
Sorry, I was going up about technically we don't have any new characters. And, like, I swear to God, do we get Battler 2? Do we get Battler Italian?
Dude, Battler 1 was so good. They gave us Battler 2.
Finally.
No, Battler 2 as well. So we got Battler 3 actually. Hold on.
3 Beatrices, 3 Battlers, three ships.
Italian, okay, that's the only way it makes sense.
Well, Kinzo. Well, hold on. No. Actually, we do have 3 Battlers. Kinzo is also Battler, as we know.
Damn it. Okay, so Battler 4. Gotcha. Okay. I'm gonna keep going.
Oh well. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this week, and we will see you all next Thursday, which means to those of you who are book club members, you get a couple less days to read, but there's also less pages than this week's reading was like 830 pages, and next week is 650 pages.
So much.
Yeah. And let me see where the chapters end for this one. From 21 to 35. That's how many chapters we're reading. There's 15 chapters. Good luck, gamers, and we will see you all Thursday. And that's Halloween. Halloween, which I will be around at the regular time. If other people have issues with that, we might, move it an hour or so. I don't know, depending on how people are, but I'm around.
Dead ass with you. I think I might need to pull Torrendo. After making fun of 9 for it, I might need to pull Torrendo and do it last minute. on the pre-show.
Well, I mean, if you're able to do it, but I just want to make sure that we're all still able to meet on Thursday, given that it is Halloween. If we have other plans, let me know ahead of time so that I can see if, most of us have some kind of plans and I can move it to, next Saturday or something like that for that week, too, if that is the case. But for right now, we'll plan for Thursday unless people have issues with that, so.
Thursday should be fine for me.
All right. Thursday at our usual time, 9 o'clock usual time, if you're listening in, we'll be reading episode 7, Requiem of the Golden Witch, chapters 21 to 35. And we'll see you all next time, gamers. Goodbye, everybody. Stay safe. Don't let the witches get you. And of course, never forget the hearts. Stay safe.